Welcome. We got a long episode for you tonight. We're going to hear Morgan's entire life story from riding sheep at 3 years old all the way to winning a golden bullet in 2025.
And I'm going to tell you how to shoot in the wind and why it might be a good idea to have a good tripod around. And then we're going to talk about the vision for the future of this sport.
Love it. Hang in there. We got a long one.
Stand by. Shooter ready.
Stand by.
Welcome back to the PRS podcast. Here with Morgun King, a 2025 Golden Bullet winner. Welcome to the show, buddy.
How's it going?
It's good, man. This is awesome. Anytime I get to talk to a Golden Bullet winner, as of yourself, this is awesome, man. How you been lately?
Pretty good. Yeah. Just same old thing, just different day, really.
Now down in Texas, how long have you lived back in? Actually, let's go all the way back. Let's go all the way back. Where did you grow up? And then where did you move to? Because you've been all over the country too.
Yeah, I kind of been everywhere. Well, I was born in Florida. I was only there for about 6 days, so I don't obviously, and that's the only time I've really been there.
Really?
Yeah,
Born on vacation?
pretty much.
Okay.
No, my dad actually wrote the feed program for a big cattle ranch there.
Okay.
He worked there for a couple of years, and so I guess I spent 9 months, 6 days, or whatever.
Oh, sure. Sure.
So, and then they moved back to Utah. My dad finished up his master's program there, and then after that, my dad got a job working on another cattle ranch in Oklahoma, and then I lived there for 6 years.
Yep.
And after that, then I moved back to Utah, and I lived there for pretty much my whole life, or most of it.
Okay.
And then after that, well, I mean, and then in high school, you know, like I rodeoed most of the time, right?
Yeah.
I grew up doing that, grew up around horses, because after my dad, about 6 years in Oklahoma working on cows and somebody else's cows, he's like, they're eating money in cows, and I want my kids to be able to rodeo and be able to afford it. So he moved back to Utah and started an HVAC company. And
yeah,
kind of a big right turn.
Yeah.
And so that's what he did ever since. But it gave us a good life and be able to be in the rodeo world.
Yep.
And so, because he grew up rodeoing and traveling a lot to rodeos, and then we kind of just followed suit.
Got it.
It felt like, I mean, we had a choice. I mean, I definitely chose it. But, it's, you do what your parents do a little bit, and so I always grew up dreaming of being a cowboy. And so it's just the way of the world. And turns out my dad hunted a lot too, just growing up in the West.
Sure.
And being around that lifestyle, we hunted, and that's something we've done for eons. And so after I turned 14, because you had to be 14 when I turned, that's how old you had to be to be able to kill a deer.
Got it.
And so I remember killing my first deer, and so I had my mom's 243, which was my great grandma's gun. And
great grandma.
Yeah, I think, is it a Savage? You know those lever actions, the Savage model, is it 3? Something like that.
Could be.
And they're kind of a cool gun. It's a rotary magazine, and she had a straight 4-power on it.
Got it.
It was a Leopold straight 4 from like the mid 60s. And the gun and scope, they zeroed it. It's been zeroed one time.
It's held forever.
I'm telling you, my mom has killed more deer with that thing, because my mom hunts a lot.
Yep.
Probably more than my dad ever has. And so then I killed my first deer. Everybody killed their first deer with that thing. And it shot good. It still shoots good. Like if you got to kill something, you pull that thing out, it's going to be on.
Heck yeah.
And so I'm going over I remember we rode over this ridge, because we always hunted a horseback. And then I jump off my horse and I see this buck, and it's like a nice little 4-point. And I was all excited, and I didn't know how far across this little canyon it was. And so I'm ready, and I get up, I'm kneeled down, and I get on it, and my dad goes, "Better hold top of his back." Why?
That
He
was your
said,
rangefinder.
"Gravity, idiot, shoot him." So I held the top of his back, pulled trigger, and then I just remember thinking, "Well, how far is that?" And then my dad's like, "Oh, probably about 300 yards. I don't know." And it turns out it is 300 yards. So I arranged it. And
yeah.
and I'm like, "How the heck? How'd you know that?" And he's like, "I don't know, just shot stuff. You just kind of get used to it." I'm like, okay.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, but I dropped him, and I remember thinking like that. There's got to be a better way of doing this. This is stupid. Like, we don't know how far that was. What if it was farther? What if it was closer?
Yeah.
You know, like, I guess if it's closer, whatever. But
Yeah.
if it's farther, and I
Yeah,
shoot
I remember.
underneath him or whatever, and so I remember that's like stuck in my mind.
That was the moment.
Still to this day.
You were 14.
Yeah, I was 14.
You were 14.
First deer, and I'm like, yeah, this is dumb. So,
Yep. There's more to shooting than holding top of back.
Yep.
Let's take a brief break in the show to give a shout out to one of our partners, Leofoto, official tripod of the Precision Rifle Series. When the stage calls for a stable position and a solid support system, more and more competitors are turning to Leofoto to provide the stability shooters need for glassing, building positions, and making precise shots under pressure. From match day to backcountry adventures, they're designed to perform when it matters most. Go check them out, leofotousa.com.
I remember my grandpa, he reloaded a little bit, and his reloading is a little different than our reloading.
Is it any different than Austin Bushman's reloading?
Oh, yeah.
It's probably...
Listen,
it's better.
primitive. No. Bushman can say whatever he wants. Bushman makes good ammo.
He does, but he's using really antiquated equipment, and
no problem.
I know. It's won 2 world championships.
Listen, yeah. I will be the first one to tell you can make good ammo on limited equipment because I did it for a long time. Like,
sure.
I was balling on a budget for a good long time playing this game.
Yep.
It wasn't until later on that I got a lot of good equipment, right?
Yep, the right stuff.
Yeah, and even still, like, people would look at my reloading setup and be like, "Oh, really?
That's it?"
You know?
Yep.
Yeah, like, really? It's not a zero? Yeah, it's not a zero press. Like,
they're nice. It's not necessary.
No,
yeah.
It's the farthest thing from necessary. And but yeah, like you still. So my great grandpa is Marlowe, and anyway, he they always call them Marlowe loads. Like you would get his reloads, and they're still out in the wild today.
Seriously,
like in my family, yeah,
okay.
You'll get reloads from him. He probably reloaded them when I was
yeah,
before I was born. So maybe 35, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
But like he loaded a bunch of rounds, and so they'll have them, and my cousins will cheap out, and they'll decide, oh, I'll just shoot some Marlowe loads. But the trouble with that is you don't know what you're getting. Like every now and again, it ain't gonna go off.
Yep.
And you're like, oh dang it, and then they'll just rack another one in and shoot again.
Yep.
Like, and then sometimes you'll just be like, something's different about that round, and you just don't know. Like.
Yep.
I ain't never shot one, no one ever planned on it, but like he just reloaded a little different than the rest of us. But sometimes them primers just And it wasn't that he wasn't putting powder in them or anything. You shake them, they all got powder in there, but just like that stuff might have been in a coffee can that somebody canned. Like they canned it and they sealed it, just like a regular old coffee can. That powder could have been from before World War II. Who knows where it come from?
Man.
And so
I bought powder one time that literally came in a styrofoam cup, like a white styrofoam Dixie cup. That it was at a gun store, and the guy broke down an 8-pounder into 4 2-pound things that he put into like a 24-ounce white styrofoam cup with tape on it. Like, I need Varget.
I still have some cans from him because my grandpa had a bunch of them, and when he passed away, he had a lot of his reloading equipment and stuff.
Yeah.
And I got cans of them that are like sealed up, and they got with a Sharpie marker written on them what they are.
What they are. Yeah.
Like I'll probably when I get a spot, I'll probably put a shelf up and have like all of that.
Yeah, there you go. That's cool
just
to have.
Like set up, because it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you just never know, like on that type of stuff. But my grandpa, he was a step above, but it was all about making the gun go boom.
Yep.
That was it. So he had one of those little thrower things, and he'd have all these .6 rounds, and he'd like set them all up, and then just put bullets in them, and they went boom.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember thinking, because I got a 223 when I was like on 15, something like that, and I remember we were going through like this gun show, and my dad's like, or he's like, we need to get you a scope for that gun, and I had like thought like I had done some research on who knows where on like because like I said, 14, I'm like, there's got to be a better way, so
Yeah.
I hit the search bar and was like, how do they do this? And then you got History Channel, like you talk about like Jim Gilliland, you know, Missy's husband.
Yep.
You know, like first time I met that guy, I was like, oh, I know this guy. You know, I seen your special on the History Channel.
Yep.
Yeah.
308, like 1,800 yards. Yep.
Yep. And him talking about it and stuff, and I was
That's
like,
cool.
oh yeah, this is like meeting a celebrity, and so you know, hearing all those stories, and then my grandpa's like, hey, you need to learn to reload, because I'm like, because I shot the crap out of that 223, and like I said, when we was at the guns show, I was like, I want a scope with turrets.
Yes.
So it was a piece of crap, but
you can still dial it.
Yeah, you can still dial it. It wasn't very good, but I did shoot some stuff at a long ways with that thing. I remember, so we didn't have a very good rangefinder, but I had a 4-wheeler with an odometer. And and we lived right, like it was a mile to there was nothing between my house and the Salt Lake when I was a kid.
Yep.
And there's a dike, because that lake used to, back in the day, it would flood sometimes, and it would go up. So they put a dike
anymore. Dang. Yeah.
No, well, it will every now and again. They don't like tell you, but it's come up to the dike before.
Okay. Yeah.
Like about 5-6 years ago, it did come up to the dike. They kind of keep it the level it is. Like, what people don't realize there, this is a side note, we're watering grass in a high desert, like, right? Everything should be dry lotted there.
Yep.
So as the population grows in that valley, and we keep watering freaking green grass in a high desert, to me it's just asinine. But whatever, that's beyond me.
Drink it, don't water your grass. Yep.
Yeah, like it doesn't make no sense. Like, water some crops, water a field, but your lawn, put gravel in.
Yeah, and be done. Yep.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Yep.
But anyway, there's nothing between us and the lake, and I go out there on that dike. They run the power lines too, and so you have these power poles or so long. So I drive down this thing with my odometer, because I'm gonna make 1,000-yard shot. And so I'm driving down there, and I'm like going along here, and there was one of those. It's like a digger, but not really a digger. But it would scrape along. You would pull it behind a tractor or a team.
Yep.
It was actually made for a team of horses. Then you would put it behind it, and you would pull it, and then it would scoop up dirt, and then you could flip it back up over and then dump whatever out. Well, I see this thing as an opportunity, because it's about, I don't know, 36 inches wide,
size
about the same tall. The tongue would stand it up perfect. I'm like, this is great. I heard you can shoot steel. So, well, it is mild though. I found that out.
Yeah, even at 1,000.
I have. So I take it down there. I got 55 grain Wolf steel case ammo. So I bought a bunch of that.
Yeah.
And I got this piece of crap scope that you could dial turrets. I got a Remington VTR 223, and then
it's kind of a nice rifle. That's a
decent rifle.
Yeah, that's decent. Yeah,
it was a good rifle.
Yep.
The scope, not decent.
Yep.
But it could do some stuff. And I go down there, and I drive along, and I'm like, I'm trying to figure out how far it is. I'm like, I got to get 0.6 of a mile.
0.6, yeah. Yep.
So I'm like driving along, and I'm trying to figure out how far each of these poles are, and it was 4 pole lengths. So I'm like, okay. So they were like, those poles were a long ways apart, and
250 yards. Yeah.
Yep. I set her out, and then I drive back down the deal, and I had a buddy with me, and I'm like, I'm gonna shoot this thing. And I had my dad. My dad had an old Pentax straight power, 30 power spotter. Yeah, and we had it. I had it sitting on a bag of rice, on 3 sticks that I had tied together. And I'm like, all right, we're gonna shoot this thing. And I had Googled about what you should get it, and I dial up. I pull the trigger on this thing, and I don't even like come close. But I saw some dust.
You did.
So I'm like, okay, all right, we're getting close. So I start dialing up more, pull the trigger, getting closer. Dial up more, a little more. I dial some wind on there, pull the trigger, and I think about 5 shots in, I hit this thing, and I mean, I was pumped.
That's where it all started.
Yeah, that was it. I hear
That was
ding, and then I'm like, dude, you got to do this. So I let him lay down between the two of us.
Yeah.
We shot that thing like 9 times out of the 20 rounds, and we were excited. Like,
Yep.
so, and then ever since then, it's just been a slow progression from that day to now.
To winning golden bullets.
That's right. That's right.
So I gotta ask. So you went into rodeo, right?
Yep.
So this is at age 15. You're using this 223, right?
Yep.
Shooting 1,000 yards. And then how long did you actually rodeo for?
Till I got into vet school, so like 27 years old. So.
Oh, from basically 15 to 27.
Oh man, I rodeoed since I was like, I started when I was 8.
Okay.
Rodeos, or maybe no, before then. I mean, I guess I rode sheep anywhere you could ride one.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I started that at well, I was probably 3.
Okay.
I just put my boy on a sheep last night at the Weatherford Rodeo, and my next one's got to go on there tomorrow.
Heck yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Like, yeah, they get started young, and then that's like a disease too. You get into that, and then you just go.
And I'm as you're describing, growing up and doing all this, and it's like, well, you come from a hunting family and rodeo family, like all this traveling around to shoot, it's pretty natural. Yeah, it's nothing.
In fact, it was way easier. Everybody says like, how do you do that, like traveling wise? And I'm like, I don't think you guys understand. This is bad. This is as easy as it gets. Like
Yeah.
I'm used to driving, and you work all day, and then you're like, hey, I got to cut out at 2, and they're like, all right, that's fine. I mean, because I started the job with that premise, like with rodeo and
Friday afternoon,
and then we would work.
Yep.
But like sometimes it's Thursday.
Okay.
Sometimes it's Wednesday night. I'll be back Thursday. We'll work, and then I'll be on that night, and then I'll see you Monday.
No joke. Nonstop.
So it just is what it is, and then you just get to where weekends are just times where you go rodeo. Now rodeo, but you're back for church most of the time.
Sunday morning, yeah.
And then you may rodeo that night again, or or not, and then Monday morning you're back at work, and you just keep going, and so there's just like no stop, you know. And then you rope every night when you get home from work, and working on horses and getting them right and doing all that, and then turn around and going. But like you drive, and when you drive somewhere, you're gonna rope. You're gonna say you're up Friday night. You may be up Saturday morning. You may be up Saturday afternoon, and you may be up Saturday night. And sometimes even more. Well, sometimes you might be up Friday morning too, or after the rodeo somewhere, or whatever. But that's not all in the same town either.
No.
It's like I remember times we'd be in Logan, Utah, in the pro rodeo there, and performance, and they had a slack in Colville, Utah, which was 2.5 hours away. But that slack was after their performance. And so if you rope your calf in the performance or in Logan and you did it just right, you could rope, loosen the cinches on your horses, jump them in the trailer saddled, and then haul ass to Colville. And
2 hours.
Jump your horse out, and then you just tighten your cinches and get in the box and rope at the next one.
Jeez. Yeah. It does it makes the shooting stuff sound pretty simple, doesn't it?
Yeah. And you'd be driving somewhere, and you'd get there, like, cause say you have to rope in the morning somewhere, and you were just there that night before. Well, then you drive till 3 a.m, and then you get your horse out, and then you go feed and water your horse, put them in a stall, or tie them to the trailer, whatever you got.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's just time to the trailer. They get used to it. Like they kind of know the drill. They're like dogs. They get like, it's like crazy. The horses that you haul like that, like you just aim them towards the trailer, and they're like, okay. And they walk in the trailer, you put some hay in front of them so that like you keep
Yeah.
like they get everything they need while you're driving down the road.
Yeah.
When you stop, they get out, everything like that. And then, but yeah, you'll get out, take care of your horses,
Yeah.
and then you go, and then you crawl in the trailer because we'll have a little place where you can go sleep in the trailer. And then you crawl out of that thing in the morning, and the first thing you do is you go feed your horses, water your horses, make sure they're all good, take care of, doctor, do whatever you need to do them.
Yeah.
And then you go get ready. And then you eat, maybe, but they eat.
Yeah.
Like that's the important thing.
Yep. Yep.
And then you're always just sleeping somewhere else and doing that, and then back to work in the morning. So then when you're shooting, this is like luxury.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
you fly in somewhere,
Well,
and maybe it's hard the first day because you get there a little late, and then you get just a little bit of sleep before you go.
yeah.
But then you're in the same place the whole time. You get done, and then you can go chill, do something.
Yeah,
You
go
don't
eat
worry about
and
getting to the next
relax.
place.
Yep.
You're already there. Then you get a hotel room. You get a shower. You get everything. Like it's like this is great.
I had heard some stories that like you especially when you're in vet school and stuff like that, like you roll out, basically drive all night, right? Get there, maybe catch a couple hours in the car, of sleep, and then shoot, and then sleep in your car that night again. Like you did all that, didn't you?
I guess did or do.
Yeah, still do.
Yeah. Last year, at the Beamer's match last King and Coal Canyon, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
last year, I showed up to that place. Yep. I had a full schedule, so I had to work on Friday. Like it just is what it is.
Yep.
And so I get done working on horses at like 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, it's 8 hours, 9
Sure.
hours. So I leave then, and I get there. I think I don't know when I left. All I know is I got there at about 3:30.
Jeez. Yeah.
And there's a little spot where you can park on the side of the road. I know. Ask me how I know. There's a little turnout. There is a
Scoped
little
it out the year
pullout.
before.
Yeah. When you get to that place before you go up to the range,
Yep.
if there's a little spot you pull out, you still got service.
Yep.
Well, I pulled out right there. I had my bedroll in the back of the car because I figured this was probably going to happen. And so I threw it on top of the Jeep and
climbed up on top of the Jeep to sleep.
Yeah,
That's
went
cool.
to sleep in the bedroll.
Yep.
And got up in the morning, drove over the range, won the match, and drove home.
That's wild to me, man. Yeah, I see that. I was just looking at that was the first one you won last year, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, so I gotta ask. So you put all this time into rodeo, and obviously, I mean, you've shot a lot. Yep. Was there ever a point where you were a mid-pack shooter?
Yep. I feel like.
Felt like. Talk to me about that.
I mean, well, part of it was like right in the beginning, like I started 11 years ago. 10 years. This is my 11th year.
season. Yep.
Yeah. So when I started, like I can tell you that the first like little club match I went to, I shot a 7 mag with 5-round mags. And I lost my second mag hunting. And I'm a little tight, but this is what it is.
Yep. Sleep on top of the Jeep. Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't even think they made a 10-round mag for that thing.
Probably not. No.
And well, I did get, so it was, and I can remember right where it was, and I was single feeding my last 5 rounds. So, but I still ended up 4th in that club match or whatever. And I was like, hey, this is all right. This is kind of fun.
Yeah.
So, I didn't start sucking, I guess I should say. And I'm not saying that
didn't start at the bottom.
Obviously levels. I just knew where, like, I'm still very competitive, but I was super competitive then. And so I was like, I'll single feed and I'll be just fine. Like, it's not a big deal. You just throw rounds in there. I would tuck a couple in my hat, a
Yep.
couple over here, and
Yeah.
I just chuck it in, go, chuck it in, go. And, it's 2-minute stages. Like, you're going to get through it.
Plenty of
Got through
time.
it was fine.
Yep.
Yeah, no big deal. So, but my equipment at that point was kind of a little bit, still, even though it holds you back. So, first thing I did after that, like, that's it. I shot at a 6.5 Creedmoor the next month.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
So it was like,
that was it.
I had a surgeon made with a Bartlett or Krieger 6.5 Creedmoor barrel, and that was the last of the 7 mag going to matches, and because I was like, this stuff's fun.
Yeah.
And then I was kind of hover. I didn't win like a local match for quite a little while. I won our region though, because there was like that Rocky Mountain Precision Rifle League back in the day.
Yeah.
It was like a little series between a few different match deals, and I think that was either 16 or 17. 2000. I think that was 2017 that I won our little region. But still, like, I don't know if you know, like, I mean, I guess it's no secret, but at the time there was like a few guys that were okay. There was like Marcus Blanchard. He was like the first guy that even was top 5
out of the Rocky Mountain region, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And so we all looked at him like he was like some kind of god, right? like it was like touching an alien when you was around him. And then after that, I was like, there was a couple of guys that were like all right, but I feel like we kind of like came up together,
Sure.
And like Paul Dowling and stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
Paul's still a good shooter. He's a great shooter.
Really good shooter. Multi-discipline. Yeah.
Yep. He's great. And so, but at the time there really wasn't a lot of people. So yeah, even though if you win that little region, like that doesn't mean you're like some sort of top shooter. It's just shots and stuff better than some guys. It's like being the tallest guy at the midget convention. So but then I would go to a national match, and the first one I went to, I was 13th. But I felt like that was kind of like that was good. But I remember, but that's back in the day when I'm pretty sure Scott DiCaprio won that, and Jake was second. And I remember like
Silencer Co., Quiet Riot. Yep. It was Scott DiCaprio won it. Bradley Allen was second.
Oh.
Satterley was third, Fibbert fourth, and Marcus Blanchard fifth.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
And I remember, I'm pretty sure DiCaprio, if I remember right, he was the only guy with 70%.
Okay. Yep. I
don't know if it shows that.
It doesn't show.
I remember that, like, and that was that was my first one, and I'm pretty sure that was Dan Bertocchini's, and
that was his first match.
We were squatted together.
Yeah.
And just random, like I didn't know nobody, right?
That's
so I
crazy.
just got in a squad, and it was me and him, and dude, and there was met some cool people.
Yeah.
And Gustavo was in the squad with me, and dude, that was a fun match.
Yep. Paul Higley was there. Yep. Rusty Ulmer.
See, and I didn't know any of those guys. I knew Paul. That was it. Paul's the guy that got me into this. Like, he met me in Sportsman's Warehouse parking lot, and we started talking because we were both buying like something reloading stuff.
Yep.
And he said something, and then we were talking a little bit, and then he goes, "Well, you ought to come out to this little shoot thing." And then so I went out to that, and that was like a little belly match that was like of some guys, and I ended up second at that thing. It was just like, but that was with all the rifle builders. I was like with like so guys that have gone on and been like, they were the best rifle builders in Utah. Like they won all of those Vortex. Gosh, what do they call that? This is a couple years ago.
This is a couple years ago. Yeah.
the Vortex Challenge is what it was.
Something like that. Yeah.
The Extreme Challenge or something like that.
Yep.
And that's where you had to run, and then you had to shoot, and which me and Paul Dallin shot it. I think we won it once.
Nice.
Or second.
Yeah.
But like Brian and Mike were there. The Lone Peak.
Yep.
And a bunch of these like guys that work for were the gunsmiths for like Best of the West and Gunworks and all that type of stuff. They were all there, and Cross Canyon Arms, which so all like the guys from Utah, they were like that, but they all shot these like 338 edges and and then here I show up with my old 7 mag and I just go ahead and and then I ended up second at that thing, and then I was hooked after that and that's when Paul's like, hey, you got to come to this this PRS thing with me. It'll be good, because he invited me to that. It was like, all right. And then when he saw that I went there, then he's like, oh, you need to come with me here. and then it was like, I mean, and I never stopped going with him. It was just fun.
Heck yeah. Now, back in those days, we're talking like being semi mid pack, right? And if you're looking at your profile,
I was pretty mid pack.
But I see you shot a couple in 2016, one in 2017.
Well, 17, I think I shot some.
Probably
that was on the PRS and the NRL were there, so it's kind of like a little.
You shot some, yeah. In 19, you won your first match, 2-day Pro Series match. So between 2016 and 2019, like, how much were you shooting? Like, were you? I mean, was it just competing, like as much as you can get out and compete?
No, it's kind of cool because about 2017, after I won the little series thing, there was a company there in Utah that was kind of like they were kind of a bougie little gun shop.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, do you want to shoot on our little team or whatever?
Okay.
So I could get they would give me like a barrel, and they would and the kid would, Jeremy Smith, he sells cars now, I think. But before that, he was a gunsmith, and he did pretty good.
Yeah.
And Jeremy would spin my barrels up. It was called the Gun Vault, and they asked me to be on there because I was kind of friends with some of the guys that worked there and that, and then they would do it so I could get my barrels done for relatively cheap, and they would kind of expedite the process, which I know that's a luxury not everybody has, but I was like fortunate enough to have it.
Yep.
At pretty early on, and so I started shooting a bunch of rounds, like a lot of rounds, and I would buy whatever cheap bullet I could find. I did not care, like at all, and it seems like, I don't know what it was. I don't know if bullets were just better back then or what. But for a while, well, and my standards are way lower back then. Right? Now I got some insane standards probably.
Yeah.
But before that, it was like, if it shot half decent, I was gonna have it.
Yeah.
And then I know in about 2018, I think I shot. I was scaring 20,000, probably 16,000 rounds. I built a range in 2017. When I say I'd always go hunting. Well, my mother's family has a half a section up in the mountains of just some ground, and I was like, I'm gonna put some. I asked my grandpa. I remember going in there, hey, can I put some still targets up, kind of make a little range up there? And he's like, okay. And he said that was fine. So I was like, sweet. So
you didn't realize you're going to go up there and shoot 20,000 rounds of the crack.
I cut 2 sheets of AR-500 steel because my uncle's got a plasma. And I was like, all right. I drew up a cut sheet on it to save as much steel as I could out of that thing. And I squeaked a lot out of it.
Yes.
I still got plates laying down there that are like, that are still like ready to hang with straps and everything.
Yep.
I hung umpteen million targets up on that hillside.
Yep.
And then I welded up some props, and then I just went to shooting. And I would go after work. So I would get done at work, and I would drive.
How far?
So it would take me from my house. It would take me 40 minutes to get on the mountainside.
Okay.
Which is not that far.
Yeah.
I mean, most people, that's not very far at all.
Yeah.
So we would work in Ogden 2 days a week, which it was only about 30 minutes from there, maybe 25.
Is this up by the Deseret Ranch? Up that
Kind of.
way?
It's
Yeah.
headed that way. It's
Yeah,
in
okay.
Morgan.
Okay.
It's in Morgan. So it's on your way up there.
Yep.
And I would go and well, I would get off and I would go straight there and I would shoot a couple hundred rounds sometimes a day. And I would just go up there and I would just shoot as much as I can. I'd go home, reload them all, and then I'd be ready for the next time. And I would just do that over and over and over again. And then I'd go home and I'd rope and then I'd go to sleep. So I would just go, I'd shoot, and it'd be dark and they'd be calling me, "You come home?" "Yeah." And they'd have them pinned, and then I would go home, I rope. And then I just kept doing that. So 3 times a week, I'd be up there shooting, testing stuff, trying this out, trying that out, and I was able to, and it blew. Every evening it blows there like 20-something miles an hour.
See, yeah, you're getting a lot of practice and a lot of wind.
A lot of wind. It blows up that canyon a lot. And where you're at, it might be blowing straight away from you or straight at you.
Yeah.
But at the top, and it may be blowing 15 where you're at, but at the top, it's blowing 25. Like you can see 2-foot pieces of steel. It would blow. Like swing. If you hung them on an A-frame.
Yeah.
And didn't have it really, really tied up good.
Yep.
Those plates would be overlapped and pushed all the way to the end of the A-frame just from wind.
Dang. Okay.
That's 2-foot pieces of steel at 1,200 yards.
That's unreal. So you're up there 6.5 Creed still?
Yeah, I was shooting a 6.5 Creed. Well, no, I was shooting a Dasher by then. I actually was one of the first ones in Utah to ever shoot a Dasher.
Okay.
So there was one guy that I knew of, and then there was some gun builders that they were like, they're like, "Man, this would be cool." They're like, "We want to put a BR in here," and then I started asking around Dasher this, Dasher that, and then a guy was like, "Hey, you should try it at 6XC." I shot that XC. I said, "This thing sucks."
Really?
Yeah, I hated it, but didn't have anything to do with that cartridge. I think it was just, maybe it was a barrel, maybe it was bullets I was shooting. I got no idea, but I know that the second I switched over to that Dasher, because Brian and Mike are like, "Hey, there's some mags." What's his name? Travis Stevens he's blueprinted. He blueprinted this mag. He's like, this is like when TS Customs was like a toddler.
Yeah.
Travis was just starting it. He'd maybe been doing it for not a long time, I feel like.
Yeah.
And Travis started buying actions from Mike and Brian, and so then they kind of built a relationship. But then they're like, "Hey, Travis has tried this mag. Travis says this is a good mag or a deal."
And that was the thing back 2017. Are we talking? Dasher and
17.
BR, they wouldn't feed, right?
No, it wouldn't. But Travis, so I got one of the first ones. I still got it.
Nice.
I got 2 of them, and they work good. I bought 2 magazines, and they're like, and I called Travis, and Travis said, "Look, I got these ones. I got one." He says, it's kind of blueprinted with some of the cheaper material, but I'll send it to you. And it's one that I've been using, but that's all I got right now. But yeah, I'll send you this one, and then I got it, tried it, liked it, and then I called and you got another one. Or actually, I think I got that one. And then later on, I ordered more when he had updated material because I ended up melting one of them, leaving it in the car because that stuff was just soft. And that's why he's like, "This isn't as good a material," he warned me. But those things, it fed like a little sewing machine. It was just
no joke.
After another.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. Those were good mags. They still work great. So, but yeah, as soon as I figured that out, as soon as they said, "Look, these mags will shoot, is no problem. You put them in there, whatever."
Yep.
Ever since then, I was going, and then it was like a Dasher and 115 D-Tax. That was like That was my jam.
Those are the bullets to have.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, that. They had a high BC back then, and I was too cheap to buy burgers. And but I will tell you that I have not won one match, not one with anything but a burger.
No joke.
Yep.
Okay.
So I remember I got pissed off because I felt like my gun, like I had like it was like I ran into just an okay lot or like the D-Techs would shoot good, but they didn't shoot like they shot good sometimes, really really good to sometimes, and then it was like it would shoot okay, and then I got like I ran out of them, and I'm like maybe I should try some 105s. Because somebody said that they were good. This is long before 109 was even thought about.
Oh, yeah, 109 wasn't till 2019 finale. I think we finally heard about them.
Yeah, 2019 finale. Yeah.
Finale,
yeah. Because I remember at the finale they gave us samples that year. That was my first time getting there. I was in squad 2. Nice. That was my first time even getting close. Then after that, it's been a little bit different since then. But.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there and I remember I switched like the end of 2018. I switched over to this and I went, oh, that's how guns are supposed to shoot. And they just all went in the same dang hole.
Yep.
And so I would just pile them on top of each other and go, wow, this is good.
So I mean, you're out just practicing shooting. I mean, so you get up on a mountain as much as you can on the way home from work. 100 to 200 rounds a night. Yeah, dasher.
Sometimes less, but a lot of times it was,
How do you shoot that much and not burn up a barrel? You just keep shooting, it don't matter.
Oh, no. Well, back then I'd try the life of a barrel pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I don't now because like that match I slept on top of the car.
Yeah.
When I showed up, it had 4,500 rounds on it. But that gun right now, I still got that gun, and I guarantee you, I could take it out and hit anything I wanted to.
Yeah.
It just you might have to clean it a little more often than you want to, but other than that, that thing is a hammer.
No doubt.
Now, I try not to like most of the time. My rule of thumb is 2,000 rounds. I don't care the caliber.
Yep.
It ain't going no longer than that. I pull it off, it's done. Yep. But if I get into a bind, like I can't get a gun to shoot, can't do something. Well, if I got a good one that I know shoots sitting in the corner, it's all put together. Well, that one's going.
Yeah.
And so that's most of the time, if I'm smart, that's the one that's going.
Yeah.
Sometimes you cling to one because you're like, oh, she's gonna shoot. I think so. And, well, and then when it lets you down, then you're right. And once you get mad enough, then the other one comes back out.
So your grandpa, right, Marlo?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, that's great grandpa. Yes, sir.
Great grandpa. All right. So did he teach you how to reload?
No, but that's who taught my grandpa how to reload.
Okay.
But his reloads are the ones that are still just like kind of or floating out there. You got a box of them. It says Marlo on them.
Okay, so he probably was the epic guy in the family who probably loaded 10,000 rounds in his lifetime.
Oh, he maybe. Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. I don't think he loaded that. Like he probably reloaded a lot.
Yeah,
but it probably still didn't touch 10,000.
How many do you think you've reloaded at this point?
I don't know. I know it was a lot that year. That year was insane, and then the next year was probably not much better.
Yeah.
Once I got into vet school, it slowed down when I got to Washington as far as reloading goes. But that was more because I started shooting for Eagle Eye.
Okay. Yeah.
But I would shoot at least 10 to 12,000 rounds a year.
Yeah.
Like no problem, because I mean, shoot when you put, I don't know, 6,000 rounds at matches.
Yep.
Just at matches, Yeah, I always figure, 250 to 300 rounds a match, and if you shoot, 16, 17 matches in a year plus whatever club matches you go to,
right?
Like, that's 4,000 at matches, and
Easy.
Then if you shoot, say some club matches, if you shoot 10 or 11 of those, there's another 1,000. So you're
1,500. Yeah,
5,000 to 6,000 just in going to matches and zeroing.
Yeah. Yep. you've shot a lot of club matches, and you still do. I remember a story, right, that you said, like, yeah, I'm gonna put the rifle down for a while, and you shot like the weekend after the finale last year,
Oh, yeah,
right?
of course.
You were at Gravestone, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's right
Yeah.
around the corner.
Yep. They were having a one day as after the finale. After
I know,
you
and
won
I
the
shut up
Golden
and they went, "Are you serious?" I was like,
Boy.
"Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess."
Yep. Did you win that match?
Yeah.
On a heater. So,
Yeah.
how much do you think shooting regional one day matches like contributed to your performance on the 2 day deal?
Oh, that's, okay. I think that's the best practice a guy can get. And I still think that's the best learning experience for anyone, period. Like
Okay.
if you're like, oh, I kind of need to figure this out before I show up, that's the wrong attitude. You need to go and figure it out.
Go do it.
Not do it the other way around, because you're going to learn more in just an afternoon or just a day than you're going to learn at anything else, because you're going to be like, sit there and try to come up with a plan under stress, and then have to execute a plan under stress, and then go, that worked, that didn't work, and then take that, move on, see all the gear you need, see what you want to change, what you want to do different, hear all kinds of different ideas. Now, I will put a little caveat in there that you need to learn to carry a big pile of salt in your pocket when you show up to matches, and kind of be like, okay, like, no, I'm not saying no, don't trust anybody, but maybe just like be like, okay, that sounds like a cool idea, and then table that for when you can actually think about it and go back and
practice
process it and
Yeah.
see if that even means anything. But maybe not, like, if you hear like, oh yeah, this is the best scope and rifle combo, you can't go with anything else, blah blah.
Put some salt on it.
Yeah, just like because I see people that come and then they just like think that this is the only thing to have, and then all of a sudden they find out, well, turns out there's a lot of things that work, and that's not really what this is about. It's about making really good trigger pulls and learning how to make good decisions and make good corrections.
Yeah,
that's the main thing. Like,
that's it.
Whether or not you shoot, like, look at the last people to win a golden bullet. Like, as far as take the last 5 of them, they all been different stuff. So you don't have to be the same. You'd be using the same crap. Like, it's all personal preference.
So that if you were to, well, let's go way back. How much has your gear changed from 2017 to now? Obviously, the sport developed quite a bit, and the chassis came around. I mean, foundation stocks, like even the actions you mentioned, Lone Peak, Impact, like all of that was developed from about that time to now. But what does your gear look like from day one to now?
So, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, when I started 2016, like I said, the first club match I went to was a Bell and Carlson stock that I had converted from right-handed to left-handed.
With a file?
No, actually, Aaron Gines, the guy that built my gun, he milled out he just took the end mill and milled out the bolt spot, because there was going to be some aluminum to get through. But then after that, I had to build I had to fill that all in with JV weld and all that, and then bedded it, did all that type of stuff. And then on the other side, I had to Dremel out everything to make it look smooth and all that. Then I had it dipped. And and that was a trued up Remington 700 action. It was a good gun.
Yeah.
With a medium Palma, or not a medium Palma. It was actually a Sendero Contour.
Yeah.
Nice gun, but heavy. Too heavy to hunt with, and that's what I hunted with.
Yeah, and that was the 7 mil.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think was it mag? You said it was mag fed. You had 2 5-round mags.
It was mag fed.
So, do you think you could win a one-day regional series match with that?
Yeah, that thing shoots good. It shot really good. It shot really good.
That would
If
be
I
fun
still
to watch.
had it, I sold that thing, and I should have never sold. There's a couple of guns that I'm
I-
like, man, I should have never sold.
Yeah.
But it also allowed me to get into some other equipment because at the time that's how I would trade my stuff around.
Exactly.
I still have the scope though. That
There
was
you
a
go.
custom 4-20 or whatever, 5-20.
Yeah.
With their little hunt reticle and it's cool. It's on my wife's gun, and that's a gun that I'll never get rid of. That was cool.
Okay.
That was my first like real gun, like big boy gun. It was
Sure.
a 308 Kimber Longmaster Classic.
Okay.
Pretty gun with wood and stuff, and then I had an old guy.
You competed with that?
No.
No. Okay. That's just a hunting rifle.
That was before my 7 mag and all that type of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Now it has a number 3 Bartlett 243 barrel on there.
There you go. Yep.
And I call it my wife's hunting gun, but she ain't never used it. I've used it, and I've sent it with some people so they can use it. And it's got a walnut stock that's real pretty and cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm never getting rid of that one. I'm gonna make that a dasher one day because I think it'd be cooler as a dasher.
And it's left-handed?
Nope, that's the problem.
Okay. That's the problem.
That's why
Good for hunting rifle. Yeah.
But I've got hunting rifles that are like way cooler than that now, though. So
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, but so then so that's what I started with. The very next thing I got though was I got a XLR Element chassis.
Okay.
Right when they first came out.
Yep.
With a Collis 6-24.
Okay.
With a Skimmer 2 reticle to start.
Yep.
So no Christmas tree, just regular crosshead, and then and then it was a Surgeon Action.
Okay.
With
Here we go.
And then that was a medium Palma, and I bought a brake off of a guy on something for $50. It was one of those Badger ordnance brakes.
Oh yeah. Yep.
But you had to taper the end of the barrel down.
Yep.
Well, turns out you don't have to taper the end of the barrel down. You just screw it on and tighten it up wherever it stops.
Wherever it stops. There you go.
That's how I used it. And I was like, I'm not tapering this thing down. That's stupid. And I just screw it in and it tightened the set screw.
Had a side screw on it. Yep.
I still got that thing. That's what I shot that thing for. Just like that. It's a 2-port brake. Shot it forever like that.
Okay. There you go. There you go.
And then after that, it was like I would slowly change certain things. Like pretty soon, like I kept the calls for a while, and then I ended up finally breaking down. Like the first match I ever won was with a Tangent.
Okay.
25.
Okay.
With a Gen 2 XR, which is still awesome reticle. I love that reticle. It only got half mil marks, so
that's
we forget that we can use it. Like people don't understand that it's totally usable, and I hit some tiny targets with that thing.
Yep.
Like just use your eyes, boys.
And you obviously won the gold bolt with a Leupold. You've been shooting Leupolds for a while now, and the PR2 reticle, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, I've still got my prototype on my gun. So it's not even really it was like when John was starting, or John was talking to him or whatever.
Yeah.
I started shooting for him a little while after that, and I had that CCH, and I was like, this thing is garbage. But then finally, which it's not that bad. Like it was the first thing you have quarters. I did like that about it.
Yeah.
But everything else about it is not ideal.
Yeah.
But I did win several matches with that thing, just like that.
I like in the PR2. I love the 1/4 and half mil marks, whatever. And I wish that more reticle companies would do that. Right. I don't. When I have a lot of scopes, and whatever. The 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 is fine. It's just busy for my eyes, right? And I really like if I blow one off the edge and I see it off the edge, I just move over a 1/4 and it's good to go. If I blow one by more than that, then I know I got to at least go half. Like it's simple mind, maybe, you know?
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, my thing is that I always shot that half mil deal, and you would have to look with your eyeballs, like and you could
Yeah.
like I'm holding 4/10, so I'm holding a little less than half, and you
Yep.
can kind of make it. It's not like it's that hard to like divide things up
No.
in your brain. Like so,
Exactly.
you kind of just shader over there, pull a trigger, and then you put it right back to where you were before, and then you got to look and see where it hit. And then when you look and see where it hit, then you look on the reticle, like, okay, it's about right there in the reticle. You move to there, pull a trigger.
Exactly.
Like
Yep.
you can get very, very, very close,
Mm-hmm.
like within less than a tenth.
Mm-hmm.
And by then, how much did the wind change? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
like you're gonna get really, really close.
And nowadays anyway, most targets are about 5/10, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so that is the width of whatever it is you're looking at. I mean, you can literally move it half over on a target if you needed to. You know?
It's really not hard. And if you're
Yeah.
like me, I measure all my targets before I go up there. And so I'm like, in my mind, I'm already thinking like, okay, well, I have like some little soft rules or whatever in my mind. Not rules, but I'll sit there and think before a stage, and I haven't talked a lot about this, but
Yeah.
it's just more of like, not that I've not wanted to tell anybody. It's more of like I just really haven't had to articulate it until like
Sure.
helping some people and like trying to get them. I would do it just naturally, and I think a lot of people or a lot of the good guys do.
Yeah.
But like one of the mental things that people don't realize is like when you walk up there, like I hate listening to people sometimes when I'm shooting, because I'm like, you guys, nobody. All right, let me back up.
Yeah.
People.
I'm excited to hear this. This is part of your stage prep.
Well, yeah, because people, they say things and they mean things, but they haven't fully fleshed out the thought. And this is applicable across really everything in life. Like
Sure,
that
okay.
people will say something and they just really haven't fully fleshed that idea out.
Yeah.
Because if they took that to the end of where it goes, they'd probably be like, nah, that's not right. Like, it's just not that complicated. And they would be like, as soon as they get there. So then I try to walk people through it in a way that makes sense. But I let them set their own trap, right? And then they can kind of realize like, oh yeah, that doesn't make complete sense. So the first thing I do is I walk up and measure the targets, and then I'll hear somebody, they'll be like sitting here shooting along, and they got a half mil target, and they'll be shooting along, and you'll hear, I was holding a half mil, and then they missed, and then so I went to 6/10, and then I hit some other ones. Well, you're like, okay, that's a great idea. Said no, but
Yeah, you didn't miss at half and then hit center at 6/10. There's no way.
no.
Yeah.
And so you'll hear people say, oh, the wind's switchy,
All the time.
and like oh, it's so switchy and all this stuff, and then you watch guys like Austin and stuff, and they'll be sitting there and they're shooting along, and they're doing things that, I mean, to us, we think is just the way that you do it, like,
Yeah.
because whatever, you'll watch a round hit a little right of center, and then you go to 6/10.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you see one go left to the center, and you drop her down, 5/10, and then you're back on center or whatever.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden you'll be shooting along and say you can't see it, or for whatever reason, it does actually pick up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then all of a sudden you go, okay, it's a half mil plate. That guy, if he's holding a half mil
To start with, and
he's
miss.
probably going to 8/9 next shot.
Yep.
Right, and then pulls the trigger, and then maybe hits up wind and drops it down 1/10, and then he's at 7/8, or whatever, and then, but you're going to be on the plate because the correction should be to center. So I start thinking, so then when I start telling people, because like if I hear it, so I hear that, and then instead of just being quiet like I should, I just say, I'll be like, really? And then people will be like, yeah, I went 6/10, huh? Okay, and then because they'll hit it a couple times, and also they'll miss again, and then they had to go to 7/10,
And then they hit it.
and then all of a sudden they hit it again, and then all of a sudden then they're back at like 8, and then all of a sudden they're hitting most of them in the middle.
Yep.
Which that would have been the logical shot after the first miss.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Right,
it would have been
because-
your second shot.
So I always tell people, what's your minimum? If you miss, what's the minimum correction? And so minimum correction would be on a half mil plate. What would it be?
Well, again, I'll go back to what I just said. If I saw it go just off the edge, I'm going to a quarter. Add a quarter to whatever I
You
had.
know, I would go a little more than that. I go 3/10.
Okay.
Because most of the
Half a
time,
tenth
but I know
Yep.
it's obviously that's
Yep.
splitting hairs.
With the PR2 reticle, that's what I do. I'm like, whoop.
The
That's
PR2
just
is
off the
great
edge.
because you
Move it
can
over.
do that,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Like, but realistically, and that's probably going to get you. Well, obviously, it's going to get you in the middle.
Yeah, pretty close.
But in my mind, I'm like, okay, that's a 3/10 because if you miss, the chances of you missing by
Yeah,
a
hair.
half a tenth
Yeah.
or whatever, that's probably true. But I mean, like most of the time, you're probably missing it by, you're missing it a little bit more than that. And I'd
Yep.
rather just throw it on the upwind side, anyways.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm going to try to move about 60%. So if it's a 6/10 plate, I'm probably going to try to err on the side
Yeah.
of
Go
3 to
4.
4.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
4/10.
Yep.
Then that's the minimum correction though. Well,
Yep.
and then I said, what's your maximum correction if you don't see where you miss? And
So for me, that would be a half mil. Hopefully the right way. Hopefully the right way.
I try to move 90%, 80 to 90, because that accounts for everything, whether it's like gun, all that type of crap.
Yep.
But essentially yes, you're correct. You take anything that didn't work, because basically the only thing you know after you pull a trigger and you whiff and you see nothing is that whatever was on the left side to the right side of that plate of your reticle,
Yep.
all that stuff didn't work. All of it. 100% of it. So why put it back on the plate? If you didn't see it, give yourself the best chance and just move that whole plate off, or 90% or whatever. So most of the time I just put my reticle back to where it was before, and I look at the edge that I think it went off of. I take that mark and move it inside of the other edge, pull the trigger.
Exactly. Yep.
So I'm moving essentially half mil, but
that's usually when I find out I have an elevation issue. I didn't see because I went over the target.
You find out either because you either had an elevation issue or you hit. That's essentially what happens.
Yeah.
I showed this to a guy in like a lot of wind, and he was like messing around doing stuff, and then he started doing it, and then he's like, "Dude, that's like cheating. You don't even have to look." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know. You just see dust off the side, and you just do that, and you'll hit the target and then read it from there."
Yeah.
So
like a good elevation. Yeah.
Yeah, as long as you have good elevation. But most of the time, because we don't usually miss like that far off a plate, like period.
Right.
Like if you're shooting half mil plate,
if it's gusty, 15 to 25, maybe.
Maybe, but even still in that scenario, most guys are going to be able to call it within,
Yeah, sure. Whatever. Yep.
So then if you got a half mil plate within one, like you could cover a whole mill's worth of wind.
That's true. Yeah,
you're 2 shots.
Yeah, you're not missing by a plate width. Yeah.
So then it's like okay, so even if it's a lot of wind, like we're gonna get on this thing. Like, it's no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's from there. Then I go back. Okay, what's your maximum correction if you hit?
Mm-hmm.
So that.
Yeah, I mean, it should be less than 2/10, right?
Yeah, 2/10. That I would say on a half mil plate, your maximum correction if you hit is 2/10. I'd never move more than 2/10 on that plate.
You ever moved 2/10 on a plate and then missed because you saw it wrong? I guess I know you've done that, but yeah,
I know I've done it. Yes, I've done it.
Yeah,
and I've watched some people do it, and that's okay. That right there is when you start really hearing people start crying about the wind being shifty.
Yeah,
that's like the 90. That's like the most of the time. That's the diagnosis. You can watch them, and it is terrible to watch. It sucks because usually what happens is they hit, and then they miss, right, and then they see it off that side, and then they add a 10th, and they pull the trigger, and then they see the plate late, like it hits, and then snaps back, and then they see the other side, so then they think they're on this side. And so then they go back, and then boom, they're off that side again.
Yep.
And I'm just like, oh, it's hard to watch. And they're like, oh man, I I did that, and then it was too much, and then all of a sudden I was back off that other side. I don't know what's going on, and then I just it's hard to watch, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
I'm guilty of the same thing. Like I've been shooting along and then been like, "Ooh, that's right." Everybody is. If they haven't had this happen, you just know that they're lying, and that's okay. Because you gotta in the moment, I'm gonna be like, I saw it the way exactly how it was, and that there is no other way. Because, well, you have to. If you don't trust yourself and what you saw over everybody else, then you're gonna have a tough time shooting.
100%. 100%.
So, like, I'll hear people tell me stuff, and I'm not saying that they're not valid. They may be right, but I gotta maintain that mentality of like, well, I'm right, so I gotta go off of that because then mentally, I'm good. That's why I think, like, if I want to start talking names,
there we go.
There's a guy we all know and love.
I know where you're going with this.
And he will never say that he saw something wrong, and that's okay because honestly, it's a great mentality, and because it doesn't matter if he's wrong. I've told this to several people. It doesn't matter if he's wrong.
Yeah.
Because honestly, it's the best mentality there is. If he believes that he saw it that way, and that's the way that it, and even if it wasn't, it doesn't matter because it'll save him because he trusts himself enough to make the correction next time and not question himself. He ain't questioning himself. He's freaking.
No.
There ain't no questioning himself. And I'm telling you right now, that's what makes him deadly.
Yeah.
Because he sees one wrong in a match and he'll argue to you blue in the face and you'll sit there and argue with him. It's not worth it because the next 5 or 10 he sees right and he's gonna put them right in the middle.
Yeah, exactly.
So he misses one shot for that mentality, but hits 10 more. I'm taking that mentality every time.
Yeah, exactly. So if you let's talk solely wind corrections here.
Yep.
And you're at the range with a new shooter and you're asking some of these questions and they don't even really understand, right? Maybe they just finished shooting. They're halfway through their first regional series match. And you're like, all right, let's talk about wind strategy here, right?
Mm-hmm.
What advice are you giving them, right?
Well, I can tell you recently at Prentice's match, when I was there was this couple that I was shooting with, and they're brand new, right, to the game. They're
shooting
awesome.
Morgun King.
Huh? They've shot some one.
With you.
They were shooting some 1-day matches, I think is all, and then they were there and like, dude, this is a great couple, and they were fun to shoot with. I didn't know anybody, or I knew a couple of people in my squad I'd shot with before, but I randomly got put in the squad because
perfect.
I signed up on Thursday and showed up Friday night.
That's still a day early.
Yeah. Well, Friday night it was late. Okay, I still zeroed Saturday morning. And anyway, so I show up there and then I'm like, I don't, you gotta want to be careful telling grown men how to do stuff, right? Like, so I always kind of feel bad, like the first little bit, because you don't know the people and they don't know you, and so you don't want to like.
Surely somebody was like, "Hey, this is the best shooter that right now in this day and age. This is the guy." Somebody had to have said that.
Yeah, but you don't know if they know who you are or anything like that. I just assume most people don't know who that guy am. It's just underwater basketball even anyways.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, it's fun and it's a great time.
Yeah. Yep.
But like,
I did the same thing. I shot it was the NRL 22 championship when it was here in Wisconsin, and I signed up as an RO or whatever and shot the RO match, and was squatted with 8 or 9 other people, and I actually showed up late, had trouble getting my rifle zeroed, went out there. I ended up shooting really well. I took second in the match, but I was 90% through the course of fire, and somebody was like, "Hey, so what do you do for a living?" And I'm like, "I run a PRS." And then you kind of have like everybody turn around and look at you. And I'm like, yeah, that's my job. And they're like, what? I don't understand that. I'm like, yeah, the Precision Rifle Series. That's me. What? I'm like, it's perfect. I don't want that attention.
Yeah,
I want to shoot.
I don't really either, but like, by the time we even started the first stage, like it was already out, I guess.
Yeah.
And some people were waiting for me when I showed up.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and we're shooting PRS, right? Like, if that's not happening. That's not happening to you at a PRS match. That only happened at an NRL 22 match, and it's because it's one NRL and it was 22 at the time. And I don't think you still hadn't launched the PRS 22 thing. I think.
No. This is just a year or two ago. Honestly, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was, and it was a championship, but
it's okay.
Yeah, Ripfire's a little different. It's people shoot in a region. They know people in the region. That's about it. Yeah. For the most part, there's obviously some guys that really travel and do, go really hard after.
There's Pauls and stuff out there.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
But anyways,
Pauls and Chris's.
Yes.
And Shane's.
Yeah. Yep. Googly eyes.
Yep. So I'm like, I'm trying not to like overstep, still though, because like I said, it's grown man, and they're doing their thing, and you don't want to like just go be like, hey, dude, you have to try this, because you don't know how they're going to react, if they're going to be like, shut up, I know what I'm doing, or if they're going to be like, thanks, or whatever, and like take it and use it. And so this couple, I'm like, after a while, and I watched this girl just pound the same hole, or like, just add a tenth or whatever. I finally had that conversation that I was just telling you about with her. And I said, look, because I watched her husband. She was right there. I was watching somebody else, and then her husband was before, and I'm watching, and then her husband did it, and I showed her. I was like, hey, look, you got it, because it was a three targets KOL rack, and we're shooting it off this car or something. And I'm like, look, you shoot that first round, and if you miss, all you got to do is because they were it's in water, and it just would splash back there, and there's
you
grass.
You could 100% see it.
Well, no, you couldn't.
Oh, you couldn't see it.
No, you could just see what side most of the time, unless it was a little one. Then you can't see
big water though, right?
It was just water and grass, and it was reeds coming out of so it was like you're shooting in a pond that's going away from you. Yep. And then it's just all these reeds coming up out of it, and a T-post in the middle of the reeds. And so for 50 yards behind, your round hits clear back in them reeds. Yeah. So you don't have any idea. You just know it went on, that went right, or that went left. That's it. So I'm like, look, what's their minimum correction if you get on there? And then she's like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, look, just trust me here, okay?
Yeah. You're
that
here,
first plate
you
is 6/10.
Yeah.
So if you miss, move 4/10. Don't even think about it. Just move 4/10, at least. Maybe a half mil, or more. But I'm like, but if you go up there, I said, just good rule of thumb. If you do that, and then if you hit it, watch which side you go. Whichever side you go, just kind of shade it one way or the other, and you'd be good. I said, because the wind was up enough and down enough to where like you had to pay attention, and so. She goes up there, and her husband had just got like a 1 or 2, and I'm like,
I love where this is going.
Yeah, and he's just like, I went up there, I just could not see, blah blah, and all of a sudden she goes up there, and all of a sudden you hear boom, and nothing, and all of a sudden she just sits there and thinks for a second, and runs a bolt, and I could see it, like she just stared at that plate for a second. And then all of a sudden she shoots, impact, dead center. And then
dead center.
Bing, 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 9. She was like smiling, and he's just like looking, and I was like, we'll have to have this conversation on the next stage, type of deal. And she was all pumped. And I said, how's that? She says, that was really good. She's like, I missed the first one. I didn't know what to do. He's like, but then I just sat there and thought about it. And she was like holding like 9/10. He's like, so I sat there, and then you said like, would just straight move. I knew what side I went off
Yep.
of, but it was kind of hard for me to see, and so I just was trying to figure out what side to go off of, and so I just added 4/10 and pulled the trigger, and then
So
I hit it dead
1.3.
center. Yeah. So she's like, and I just ran it. It just kept going, and I was like, yeah, it works, doesn't it? And
Yes.
and then he's like, yeah. And then they both cleaned the next stage on a little troop line deal, and then kind of just, it was a whole lot more fun after that because they were just like able to, you're able to deal with it because you have some sort of plan, right?
Yes.
Most people don't have any plan or any strategy to combat what's going on, and so they go up there with so people get emotionally. So when you sit and you look at a target and you stare at it and the wind is blowing and you're freaking out on the inside because you want to hit it, right? And so you're like, you got this
clock's
stress.
ticking.
And you got all this cortisol building up in your system before you even start, right? So you're already stressing and you're thinking about it and you're like, I don't know what to hold. And you're like, I think maybe I should go 4/10. The guy in front of you held 6/10. And so you're like, maybe it's 6/10 because it worked for him because he shot some and hit some. And then, then the next guy goes and he shoots 7/10 and he hits some of them. And then you see somebody, they held 4/10 and they hit or missed. And so they're like, I don't know what to do. And then you're sitting there in your mind, you're like, your Kestrel's telling you to hold 8/10. And then the guy in front of you tells you to hold 6/10. And then so you're like, I'm going to hold 7. And then they go up there. And so emotionally, you're like, it has to be this. It has to be this. It's what it is. You pull a trigger and then you miss right off the rack. And then you're like, uh-oh. But it had to be that, so it had to be me. And so what do? So then they send a confirmation miss.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to...
Confirmation miss.
Yeah, that's what I call those, is confirmation misses. It's like, wait a minute, it wasn't me,
Yep.
But because you're emotionally attached to that decision you made.
Yes.
You don't want, nobody wants to be wrong. That means you have to admit that you're wrong. That doesn't feel comfortable. And so, you're like, you don't want to say that, no way, I'm not wrong. And so, and so then emotionally they're like, it's got to be something. Confirmation miss. Definitely missed. Definitely wasn't there. So then they're like, but he just shot it with 6/10 and cleaned it, And so then
he hit the edge on every one of them.
I'll hold 8. So then they hold 8, and then they hit an edge for like two shots, and all of a sudden it's off again. So then they're like, so then it's 9.
Confirmation miss.
9/10. And then you hit more edges and then off again. And then pretty soon, okay, now you're holding a mill, and then you hit and the wind dies just a little bit. And then you're kind of in the middle and then finish the stage. Right.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how it works. And people, because you're so emotionally attached to that decision that you make before it goes off, that you end up robbing yourself of all kinds of success. Right. If you just shoot like a robot and don't care, you just shoot, miss, or hit, and you just correct and pull a trigger. Who cares what the answer is in the end? It's just, it's X's and O's, just ones and zeros.
Yep.
Right? You just hit, miss, and move on. And so, if people can figure out how to just shoot like a robot, they're good.
Yep. Take the emotions out of it.
Yep.
Seriously. Let's take a brief break in the show to give a shout out to one of our partners, Leah Photo, official tripod of the Precision Rifle Series. When a stage calls for a stable position and a solid support system, more and more competitors are turning to Leah Photo to provide the stability shooters need for glassing, building positions, and making precise shots under pressure. From match day to backcountry adventures, they're designed to perform when it matters most. Go check them out, leahphotousa.com. Well, man, I wanted to ask you while we're on here too. We have a mutual friend, Tony Wang.
I know,
right? Yeah, we probably should go down this road.
Should get there.
Yep. You and John Pinch helped design the Juggernaut S2 and S3 tripods.
Right. Yep.
And you used it all last year too, didn't you?
Yep. I've been using it for. Yeah, I think that's about when I finally got one. It was last year, maybe you'd be right before that.
Okay, so maybe end of 24.
Yeah, maybe. But
Yep.
so since when you and Beamer ran the finale,
Yep.
that's where me and Tony met.
Yep.
I don't know if you
Yep.
remember that day. I do.
I was it on Saturday or Sunday?
I met him on Friday, but
You met him on Friday.
yeah,
Okay.
that's the one I told you. Hey, look.
I do remember talking to you in the parking lot
Yeah, that.
at Box Canyon.
Yep, that's when.
I 100% remember having that conversation where like you're the odds favorite. You were not leaving this event early.
Then I had to charter a plane home.
Oh my god.
Some asshole said you cannot leave.
What I had.
I'm just giving you crap. It's fine.
I know that's fine, and I was.
It was my uncle.
That day. Okay, well there you go. I had this fear that the first year.
I know it was all about your first year. I knew what it was. I knew it.
Yep.
It's fine.
That Morgan King's going to run away with this match, get a golden bullet, basically, like take the trophy and say see you later. And I was like, no, it can't be about that. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean you.
It's fine.
How many matches did you win in 24?
Well, it wasn't 24. It was 22.
23. I'm sorry, 23. Yeah, 23. I'm looking here. So Snake River 26, MPA Spring 21st, and then Box Canyon you won. Canyon Gruger you won. Okie Showdown you won. Second in Parma. Then you won Alpha. Then you won KRG Windbreaker. And then you were third at the finale.
Yep. It was a decent year.
That was a good year.
Yep.
I mean, you had a lot of momentum going down the stretch, and it's like Morgan's going to win this, and we're going to have this huge banquet, and Morgan's going to be like, "Hey, I got to take my trophy. We'll see you guys later." And, you know, and I'm going to write you a check, and that's that. That was my fear.
I know what it was. It was fine. I know what it was. It's not.
This is the first time I've said this too on camera. But anyways,
you know, it's fine. I just had to tease you because I when I met Tony, it was like that, like in the same kind of, because I told you before the match, and it was like right. Yep. That's why I was over there, was to talk to you, and then I met Tony.
That's right. Yep. And I remember you talking to Tony too. Yep. Right around that same time.
So that's the only reason that was relevant. I had to tease you about it because it was fun.
Yep. Okay. All right. Yep.
And
thanks for bringing that back up.
I just figured it'd be fun.
Yep.
Which it wasn't a big deal. I actually called my dad and I was like, "Hey, I don't know what I'm gonna do here," and he goes, "Well, I wonder if Dave will fly out there and get you. He needs to fly that thing.
Needs hours." Okay.
And I was like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll bet he would." He says, "I'll call him. We'll probably beat you out there."
No joke.
Yeah. So we outside now. We flew. He has a twin prop Cessna, and we flew that from there to Washington. So he flew from Utah to Kansas to Wichita.
Yeah.
I met him there, and then actually no, it wasn't even Wichita. I can't remember where it was. It was some. It was
some little. Yeah.
It was a little
regional deal. Yeah. Yep.
We flew into there, and then flew
straight to Washington.
Yeah, we stopped in Cody, Wyoming.
Yeah.
For fuel. He thought we might have to stop twice, but we made it to Cody. We had the wind good, and then we went to Washington. He slept on the couch, and I went to. I had to start my rotations. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I went to school that morning.
Made it. Figured it out.
I was like, because I couldn't miss. I had finals. It was just it was what it was. Like it was like, and I was like, that's what I was telling you. I remember telling you, and I was like, I can't be in two places at once, and I know what's gonna win. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. And you're just like, you are not effing leaving. And I says, well, I mean, it comes down to it. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. It's just like it's not personal. It's not anything. It's just But I was like, maybe I can figure it out.
You figured it out.
Yep.
Did you tell anybody else that story?
No, not really. I mean, yeah, I've said it a few times. Like like
Yeah.
a few people, but it's not like
Yeah.
not in a bad
Ken-
way. I've never been.
Ken's such an asshole.
No, I've never said that.
No, I know, man. I
It
know.
it is no, not like that. Because
All right, so-
that wasn't the intent of it. It was more of like
No.
I knew what because you said this is my first year. It can't be like that, and I was like, okay. But then as soon as Kale won it, I was like, shit. I was like,
Yep.
I could be on a plane.
Yeah, could have been. Yep.
But no, it is fine, and it was great.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Yeah,
so I go over there
Tony.
and I see Tony, and I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, hey, I want you to, hey, Morgan, you're Morgan, right? And I was like, yes, that is my name. And we start talking, and he's like, would you try some? I was like, yeah, I mean, and I started feeling it and stuff, and I was like, well, first thing, what's the overlap on these legs and stuff? And I took it apart, looked at it, and I was like, well, first thing I'd change is that right there.
Yeah.
You got to make that tighter because this thing is like kind of like you can push on this leg and it's got some flex to it. And I was like, because it's the joint right there. Watch if I overlap it, and I showed him if I overlap it some, look, I can already get some more stability out of these legs, like. And so he's like, and then he's like, well, what do you think about this? And I was like, well, I really don't like it.
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, well, I did design that one. And I was like, oh, sorry. And then I was like, oh, well, sorry. And then he's like, and then he sits there and I start talking to him. And in his defense, like, right, like he like looked at it and he's like, would you be willing to like try some of these and like maybe like you maybe like help us get one right. He's like, do you mind if I use your idea there of the overlap and stuff? I said, because you can make that spacer longer. There is no reason. I says, I know you won't get the same spec out of the tripod, but you'll get more stability out of the tripod. And if you're trying to sell something in this game, it's stability. Like
100%.
Like it just is what it is. And he's like, okay. And so instead of taking it as like a blow, he took it as a positive.
Yeah. Yep.
Because there's a lot of people.
He's very receptive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of people, if I would have told them that, they would have been like, nah, I know what I'm talking about. Like, this is
Defensive,
it.
yeah.
And he was just like the opposite. And I was like, well, I'll try it. We'll talk, and then he starts talking to me about, do you want to come up with a line of tripods? Because I think we could probably set up a line around you. And then he's like, and then the other guy, he's like, I want to get a hold. Do you know John Pinch? And I was like, yeah, me and John are friends. And he's like, you think he would want? He's like, we've been trying to get a hold of him. Maybe you want to like kind of do a collaboration with him too, on the hunting stuff. And I was like, sure. And then me and John were talking about it. I was like, why don't we just do them all together?
Yeah.
And then we'll both kind of have input on it and stuff. And so, and because he's like, I'd like a really lightweight tripod, and so that's one of the next things that's coming through is me and him have been testing that one for a while. And getting the head dialed in and like some stuff like that. See, it took us a long time because, well, for one, you got to translate everything.
Sure.
And there's a language, not really translate, but there's a language barrier, right?
Yep. A little bit.
Like I remember sitting there and I had a two vets that's stupid stiff. I can lock those legs in with the screws and those Leophotos because he sent me. So me and John, he's like, I want you guys to have all that you need to see what we have, and then kind of go back and look at them, and then go forward from there. See what you like and go forward with that and have ideas. So we got almost one of everything, almost.
Yeah.
Every size, all of it. Like it was like I had boxes of tripods. Heads and pieces and all this because they just sent
what you like from each one of them.
They're like, what do you think about this? And so I went through them all and I was like, I like this and I don't like this and like I like this wrap on this tripod leg. Like this is a better. And he's like, yeah, that one it costs a little bit more to make.
Of course.
And then,
picked out all the premium features.
Yeah, and he's like, well, what about this? And and they had some ideas, and they're like, what about a leg lock thing? And I was like, well, that would be great, because in my mind, I'm like, I've always liked tripods I can crank the leg down and make them stiffer, right?
Yep.
Well, it turns out I had to make, because this is how much of a language barrier. You think you're talking in English and everything's being received, but it's not always like because. We'll have a conversation, yeah, and then but there is some sort of like the way it's interpreted, because there's two things. There's a shooting barrier, language barrier, right? Because like if you and I have a have a conversation, it's gonna be different than if somebody that's never shot before has a conversation.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
So somebody that, so you can understand what I mean when I say I lock the legs down, right? So it makes the stiffer because there's two screws in each leg and a washer, a couple of brass washers in there that you can kind of squeeze on and create some more resistance, right?
Yep.
So that leg can't collapse in.
It's a little harder to deploy, but
it is what it is. That's
exactly
but it's
the
also
benefits outweigh
harder to actually
collapse.
collapse.
Yeah.
So, but that can be a benefit, when you're moving and doing stuff. Well, that was like, and then didn't understand, right? Type of deal.
Yeah, boy.
And then you're like, okay, I gotta. So I had to make a video, and I would hold the two vets at eye level, and then drop it, and show that the leg on that one would stay like this. So I would drop it on the two legs down, one leg up, drop it, and then it would stay boom. And then I would take the other one and do the same thing, drop it, and it would go to the ground.
Yep.
And then
totally collapse.
and I said, that's bad. The other's good. And then they're like, oh, because they in the camera world, I guess that's a no, or not as there's not.
Yeah.
It's not a
nobody would ever do
feature.
that with. Yeah.
Like you don't. You actually want it easy to deploy because you want her to get a quick shot and be stable.
Got it.
So they want to be able to deploy it fast, and they don't worry about. They're not moving the tripod like we are, and like having to push the tripod sometimes. So they want it to stay out.
Exactly, and they're probably never putting side weight on that thing too. As rear tripod support. Yeah.
Yep. And so that's not a benefit to them. And they had actually built it into the system to where you could only go down to certain tightness, and then you get no more out of it.
Yeah.
And so I would strip screws trying to tighten those things, all kinds of stuff. Turns out they just needed to change the brass insert in there so then you could get more resistance out of it. And we found that stuff out. And it was all about this, like what they thought was a good feature versus what we thought was a good feature. It had nothing to do with it being a crappier tripod. It was actually more to do with what they thought was a benefit versus what we thought was a benefit.
Sure. Different applications too.
And so like it worked for that world, but it doesn't for ours. And so then when the leg lock idea come around too, now it makes it to where you can have the best of both worlds. You can have one that is just, I still like some resistance, but I don't need it to be like crazy stiff, And then you can lock it out.
Exactly.
So you get the best of both worlds. And
quick deploy, and you pull that I don't want to call it center cup, but it's right underneath the center cup where you pull that down. Now they're good to go.
And then there was another feature on a different tripod that had that where you could drop in a center column or you could drop in a top or whatever, and it was still had a narrow base and all that type of stuff. And I was like, that's the way to do it, because I loved that about a bowl where you could just pop your head off and throw it on your pack with all your stuff and reduce some weight on it, so it was easy to move. And then also for like traveling and stuff, you could take your head off really easy, throw it in your pack or whatever, and then have just a tripod. I really liked all that about it, but hated how fat it was at the top and all that part. So I was like, screw that. And it is kind of nice having a center column for like when you're like moving from stage to stage, and you don't want to just move it up an inch or down an inch, especially when you're in the mountains.
Exactly.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
And so that's where that came about. I was like, I want to roll that feature into it, because then we still get the small apex, still get the benefit of the ball or the bowl, all that type of stuff. And then it just took time of like getting the tripod, testing out the leg lock. Oh, that leg lock sucks. Don't use that leg lock. Can't have that one. This leg's too short, or this tripod's too short. We need to go to a different one. Put marks on the legs so we can know where we're at.
Yeah, they are graduated.
And then he was like, look, if you do this, we've got the biggest tubes available right now, and we'll put those in your tripod if you want that. And I was like, okay. So then we did that and changed the wrap, and it's a little bit more expensive to do that wrap, but it's a stiffer leg. And when we changed all this stuff, you know, we got to a point where it was like, okay, this is probably the best thing we can do. Like, I mean, I don't know what we're gonna do different, really.
Yep.
Because I feel like we did enough. We did plenty of. I would say there was some innovation in there between Leo Photo and us, and arranging things and making sure it works. And then I'm telling you, it's crazy. I don't know how much you've been around one, but you get put your gun on one of those versus really anything else.
Yeah, it's clear to me that you guys built this for shooting,
Yeah.
So I got an interesting question for you. So you guys came up with two versions, the S2 and the S3, which basically is how many sections the legs are, right? The S2 is inverted, and the S3 is standard.
Yep.
Like with the collars at the top, right? What was the evolution of that?
Okay, so I wanted to have the most stable tripod period available. Like you can't, like it can't be touched. That was the goal in the beginning, and so that S2 came around because of that. If you want to talk about torsion, like torque on it, and having something that resists as much torque as possible, that and that kind of that stability there, it comes from the top section, the section that ties into the apex.
Got it.
So
you got the fattest tubes at the very top.
Yep.
And
it's crazy how much different that is. Like if you get on the S2 versus the S3, it's pretty evident which one is more. No, I'm not saying that the other one's not stable. It's just there's a sacrifice. And so if you're like wanting the most stable thing available, period, that's it. Like it's just
that's it.
You can't, and you can hang on it. You can do whatever you want. But it's wild. Like I was sitting there, and I heard a story about somebody teaching a class, and they were talking about putting some flex in the tripod leg, and somebody had an S2 with them, and they're sitting there, and he's like, you'll get on there, and you got to get to where you can you'll be able to push into the leg and do this or whatever, and you can kind of push on it. And he grabbed the S2 to kind of give that example, and then he's like, never mind, this one doesn't do it, and then got rid of that, and then okay, see this one, that's what I'm talking. And he's like, dang, that thing, I'm pretty sure that guy uses one now. So
that sounds like a Justin Watts deal.
It wasn't Justin, but
I'm close, aren't I?
No. It actually was one of them.
Okay.
But yeah, when I heard that story, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
That is, yep.
But it was like, yeah, it's just like that's what we was going for, right? Now, the S3 though, that was like, okay, how do we get the best of, like, what's a good compromise of, like, okay, portability, stability, speed,
because it does collapse a lot smaller. For sure. Yes,
yeah, it's a 3-section. It's going to come down a lot more. Now, another disadvantage, you can't run in your caddy stuff. With those.
Yeah, so if you're gonna, you need the static.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
And you're sacrificing a little speed on the traditional, right? Like, because it is faster with it inverted, no question. But well, faster to deploy. But how often do you go to a match that you have to deploy it on the clock anymore? Because that created so much of a gimmicky environment where you had then you were like, okay, if we're going to this match, we have to have a 2-section that's inverted. Like there's just no way around it. But if we go back to this place where we can set our stuff up and do all that, well, it's sure nice to be able to, if you like a caddy, you can run a caddy or whatever. But but even if you were at that match, it's still like I've ran several. I used to run a standard. I didn't have it. I'd never really had it inverted. But I could run that thing out, do them all really fast, and still use that tripod. It wasn't a problem. And so I was like, this is a great balance of like we have the most solid tripod period, and then, but also it's really fast. Like it's fast, plenty fast. Like you're losing a couple of seconds, but who cares? You're gonna be fine.
Yep.
And now, with that being said, we are having the S2 inverted coming out though, so there will be that option. For those people. It's coming out.
The S3 inverted. Yeah.
No, 2 inverted. It's coming out.
Okay.
Like July, August, September-ish, something like that.
Okay.
They're
Okay.
making them right now anyways.
Awesome.
The S3 inverted, yeah. Those have already been out. Those are in the wild.
Okay.
Allegedly, I don't know. And then, like, everything that did come out, though, it was like, I hear there's, like, at Mountain Forest, their website, I guess, has a few tripods in stock. Everywhere else I've heard of, I think they're gone.
They're all gone. Yeah. I tried talking to Tony. I think it's right after SHOT Show. I'm like, buddy, I have a couple tripods I need to replace, and I thought, if I can get an S2 and an S3, like, I'd be. He's like, I'd love to give you one. I am so back ordered right now. Like, it ain't happening. I'm like, that's all right. I'll be patient.
Yeah, it was funny because when we did that S2, so the first run of the S2 came out, right? That's all this came out. I can't remember however many of them they made. I think they made like 150 of one and 50 of the other, or something like that. Well, that first run came and was gone in like a few days, and then after that, the layup photo was like, so you guys had mentioned that you wanted also like a inverted 2-section, and you said this. Yeah, we'll whatever you guys wanted. That'll.
We got their attention.
Yeah,
now.
they were like,
yep.
They decided that I guess if we listen, that we'll sell more tripods.
I bet our friend Tony there probably had to convince the rest of his corporation, right, manufacturing and operations and all that. I bet all along the way he's like, guys, this is going to be good. Like, please, like, just we have the 2 best guys that we can think of in this space. Like, these are going to be fantastic tripods. They're going to sell. Everybody's going to love them. He probably put a bunch of equity in there, and thankfully, it's paying for itself.
Yeah, no, and that's what people are like. Oh, it's made in China, and I'm like, yes, it is made in China. But here's this: if the Americans would ever have listened, because I've said stuff, maybe we wouldn't have this conversation. But these boys have listened, and they listen just fine.
They listen. Here's the other thing too. I had heard, and whether or not this is true or not, but these carbon legs come from 2 sources in the world, 3 sources. There's really only a couple manufacturers of these carbon legs. So, like, and Leo Photo's one of them. Like, it is what it is.
Yep.
There's just not there's not a lot of sources for this type of thing. So
it's like they do a really good job, and they try. I mean, I have no problem supporting these guys, and they've made mistakes in the past, and they like very open about it, and really a lot of times it's because they don't have the like they don't understand it, like the American culture near as much. Right over there, it's like everybody makes something. Then if somebody makes something, there's no like intellectual property is not really a thing.
No, it is what it is.
So it's like if one person starts making it, then everybody makes it, and then they all just make it. Period. It just is what it is. But they, to their defense, have been like, no, we don't want to do that. We want to play nicely with everyone. But if they get an idea pushed in front of them and they think it's good, they're going to try it. And so, like, there was some people from a different country that ended up ripping off, and they took something and like acted like they were prototypes and sent them to them and said, "Can you make this?" And then
100%. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And then all of a sudden, like the day after releasing it, that guy was like, "Hey, what's up?" And then
you guys copied my design. And they're like, "We didn't copy your design. We copied this one from
this got one from over
New
here.
Zealand."
It was from New Zealand. It was
New Zealand.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then they just were like, "Oh, my bad," and they're done with that.
Yep.
That was it.
Yeah, and they totally scrapped that.
Public apology and everything. And I'm sure that cost them quite a bit of money too, because they had to probably, I don't know how much money, but it cost them a little bit of money to do it.
I'm sure. Yeah, they probably they threw everything away and all their time and effort and all Tony's effort. I mean, Tony came up to Wisconsin for a regional match, just to basically hang out.
Yep.
He traveled all over the country the first couple of years that he was doing this, and I have nothing but good things to say. And
Tony's a
look,
great guy. He works hard.
he is a great guy. Leofoto supports the hell out of the PRS and the shooters. You can't go to a Pro Series match and not find a pile of their certs, right? Like they're supporting the heck out of the shooters and the match directors, like hands down. So, and if for any partner out there that's listening or anybody that's like, hey, I really want to get involved in the PRS, like Tony followed the model, right? Which is go out and get involved. Make sure everybody knows who you are. He's been at the Gap Grind like every year, right? Like
He'll be there this year.
He'll be there this year. He came to finales. Like he's still coming to finales. He's present, right? Like that's a big part of it too. Support the match directors, right? And if that means getting some certs out on their tables, like, yeah, that's a huge thing for match directors. Like it's the one thing that is the least amount of fun if you're putting on a 2-day Pro Series match. And if you know that, you know, Tony at Leofoto is going to support you, like it makes it easy, you
Right.
know? Yeah, do that. Be present, support the match directors. You can't lose, you know?
And if you're looking to try to like innovate in order to like become relevant too, it's probably not a bad idea to get a hold of somebody that's good. And
Yeah, exactly.
just listen.
Yeah, his relationship with you and John Pinch, like, yeah, it's awesome. He's done a really good job. The company's awesome. They support the heck out of us. They couple great products here. You know, like let's talk about shooting tripod rear, right? When you first started shooting, you never, not once.
No,
right?
it wasn't even thought about. Like there's a couple of things that weren't even there. There was no game changers and there was no tripod rear when I started. And so the sport was played different, right? We didn't have to.
Yep.
Nobody thought that you had to like Arca Swiss a plate bag onto your gun because that was dumb. We only had we had Picatinny. We didn't even have Arca.
No.
And so you put a pick rail on there for your bipod or a swivel stud, whichever one you had.
I actually had an Anschutz rail on the bottom of my rifle.
Oh, yours bougie.
Kind of like
because you could just switch it over.
Well, you could, yeah. It was a Sacco TRG is what I was shooting.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
it was sweet.
I had a swivel stud on mine for the most of the time, and so I just had to take that off or leave it on. Most of the time I just left it on, but then I would take a little rear bag that had a little bungee strap that I could tighten, and if I
go over the barrel and everything.
Yeah, you go over the barrel. Or the scope too, but most of the time I just go over the barrel, tighten it up, and they would stay there, and then you set your gun on top of it, and then you would figure out some way to have a bag on top of your knee, or like on top in your lap or something, and that's how you.
I got a picture. I got to try to get this thing off the wall and show you because like it checks all the boxes, everything you've just been talking about.
Right.
This epitomizes the sport in 2017, I think.
Yeah.
So we're shooting off of stupid blue barrels.
That's what I'm freaking talking about right there.
Yep. That's how you use the bag. Pre-game changer. Well, actually, no. There's a game changer. I was using it here.
Yeah, that was the first time. So Game Changer came out the spring of 17.
Yeah. This would have been like fall of 17, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe spring of 18. I don't even know. But I don't know if you can see it here, but I have the ammo tucked up in my hat.
Heck yeah.
Because this Sacco TRG only had a 7-round mag. It was TRG 42.
Yeah, so you love stuffing in that hat. That works, man.
Yep.
When people thought they needed 2-round holders, and I said, I got one right here, baby.
Exactly. Yep. Just quick and easy.
It's right there. Just great minds think alike. I'm telling you. It's great.
Yep. So all right, 2021, 2022, tripod rear became a thing?
It was probably before then, because I know I used it 17 a little bit. 18 for sure. 18 we started using it like crazy. It kind of was a West Coast thing a little bit. Because
your props sucked.
Yeah, exactly. We shot a lot of blue barrels. Well, here's the reason why. Out east, you have limited space for ranges and stuff. Like a lot of the ground's private already, so it's like, well, if you want to shoot, it creates a demand, right? Now all of a sudden you have a demand for a place like Gravestone, or you have a place like K&M and stuff, like where a guy within 2 hours, well, he'll drive out there and shoot on a Saturday, Sunday, or whatever. and then go home.
Yep.
And so now all of a sudden, because you have demand, you can have it. Well, out west, why would you ever be a member
You
of
can
a
shoot anywhere.
gravestone?
Yeah.
The only reason there's square ranges that exist is because contract work, SWAT teams, all that type of stuff.
Yep.
They have
exactly.
a place they can go
Yep.
train. And so, like in
Yep.
Price, that shooting facility where Paul runs his range, that's
Yep.
that's the only reason that one exists is from government or from all the counties. They'll go there and do all their training.
Need
and
a
stuff
place
like
to do
that.
the thing. Yeah. Yep.
And some of the other, I guess whatever they are, unit things, and then they'll
Yep.
run matches out there. So there's a little bit of demand for it, but other than that, you could be there's the range. You could be 5 minutes away shooting however far you want in the desert, just whatever.
Yeah.
If you're me, you just shoot rocks.
Yep.
Like
Yep. Go out and do it.
I just shot I would do that all the time. Like if I couldn't get to my range or whatever, it's like I'd just be in the mountains in 5 minutes shooting rocks.
There you go.
Like
and shooting off of whatever. So you could be shooting off clipped into a tripod.
Yeah,
right?
you'd be clipped into a tripod, shooting off a rock, shooting prone or whatever. But then the other thing with that is because there's so much ground, right? And there's no ranges that are like that. So you have nothing that's permanent, right? You don't concrete in a barricade because that thing's got to go down. Like it's Sunday night when they're doing awards. Somebody's taking the range down, or they're taking it down that night in the dark. And so it's like it's a different dynamic. So yeah, you have a lot of like your props are made out of plywood that can be broken down, folded up, or blue barrels, things like that. They drive a tractor up there, shoot off the tractor,
Exactly.
all stuff like that where it's not dedicated there, or you have where you talk about field matches where then you're out in the field and you're shooting off of rocks and in weird things, high angle shots where you got to use a lot of bipod or whatever. So now all of a sudden you're adding these weird things in there, and then temporary props of like shooting off those stupid blue barrels and I remember ones where you had to it would just be one barrel, and the barrel had to be. You had to move the barrel 3 times. It'd be away from you, it'd be sideways to you, and then straight up and
then
down.
Standing up.
And you could pick whichever one you want to start on, but you had to do that whole sequence.
You had to do all 3.
And now the sissies they go to the matches are pissed if it's not that thing's not concreted to the ground.
Yep.
Or at least staked in, no problem.
We had those barrels at the barrel maker. It might have been the year. Were you there that when Shannon K was there?
Yep, I think so. When you had that stupid helicopter playing that freaking Fortunate Son.
Come on, that was epic.
It was epic. It was.
Yeah.
It was. But I mean, if you had to do the
2 hours.
RO, could you mean that the RO's had blood coming out of his ears?
Yeah, I know the RO. Ben Schumacher. Shout out to him.
It was awesome. I'm just giving. The only reason I say it was stupid because I had that stupid pipe in there rolling.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we had to shoot off of that.
It was cool. It was awesome.
The blue. Well, imagine. Well, you wouldn't be able to do tripod rear there because the pipe was on the other side of the helicopter.
Listen, I felt at home. It felt like a match at home. Like having to shoot off of weird stuff like that. Here, Clay was just bitching and moaning the whole freaking time. And then I'm like, because then we had to go to the deer blind not much later, and he's like, that deer blind is so stupid. That I can't believe we'd have to shoot out of that thing, and I cleaned it.
Yeah, there you go. I think we had a chair in there too. You could turn the chair around.
Yeah, you could turn the chair around, get a bag on it. No big deal.
Yep.
No problem.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how you shoot that. Yeah. Oh man.
It's so much fun. It's just there.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. It was a little bit different back then, You just had to think differently, and so because of that, there became a necessity to innovate, and then the tripod rear thing comes along, and then it was like, okay, now I'm not just loading into this thing trying to make a tripod out of me and the prop and my legs. Like I don't have to do that. I can now try to make this better.
You kind of float your rifle,
right,
and support it enough and see everything.
The idea was the front of my gun is not going to be that stable, but I can. How do I make me? So that was my thought since I started. Is I realized early on, like in those situations, that it's not about getting your gun stable. it's about getting you stable. And so, how do you get bone support, like engaging no muscles? How do you,
tripod stance?
Yeah.
Or, the PRS stance. Yep. Bent over at the waist. Yep.
Getting your weight centered and everything, and get an aggressive stance, but not too over in front of it.
Yep.
Learning to catch the rifle instead of load it and all that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like learning all those things was good, and that's something that people don't have to do now, right? They can stick their hand on top of their scope, back off the rifle, and slap the trigger and hit most of them, you know. And so it's a different era, and it doesn't mean anything's wrong with it. I mean, you just look and
it's just evolved.
Yeah, I talk about that match, that the Quiet Riot, my first one. With that match, that was at the Desert Tech Training Facility in up in northern Utah, and not where it was later on. It was a really cool facility. It was a lot of high angle stuff, and I think back on that course of fire, and I think that would be like a very high 90s percentage course of fire.
Now,
yeah, like 90.
Back then, no,
70. He was the only guy in the 70s. With Scott DiCaprio. After that, it dropped into the 60s. And I mean, that course of fire, though, yeah, I mean, we would smoke that competition now. Like, I remember thinking like that this is like hard and all that stuff, and didn't know how he was doing, but like, you know, it was a blast. And that's the other thing that gets me is people are like, oh, we can't retain people if we're shooting 70%. And I'm like, you guys weren't around, I guess, huh? Because when I started, like, if you shot over,
we used to get our teeth kicked in.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it. It felt fun.
Yeah,
like if the goal was to shoot better than 50%, a lot of times, like for me.
Yep.
And if I shot over 50%, I did pretty good, you know, and it was fun. And so we have this idea that we all need to be shooting and cleaning all these stages, and it's like you realize I won our region without ever cleaning a stage until the region finale in 2017 when I won the region.
Heck yeah.
So like it was a different time.
Yeah.
Like and it was still fun.
Yes. Yeah. It's a relative thing. Like not every bullet has to hit the target to bring joy. Like
no. I remember so those price matches, a guy ran these matches for years, once a month at that range I was telling you, the SWAT in Utah or whatever, they all use it and that's why it's there. Well, so once a month we'd go down there. It was like me and Mike Anderson and Paul Higley and stuff. And there was a time where they kind of like we stopped going to them for a little bit just because there was other matches to go to, and so and it was a long ways away, whatever. But you would go to it every now and again when you want to. Well, I started going to some of the bigger matches or whatever. 2018, I was going to a bunch of the NRL matches and stuff. And but I made the PRS finale through the region thing, 2018. Yeah, that was my first time going to that, and I was a whole different shooter. Then 2016, 17 when I'd been there, and like I remember my first time going there, it was usually at 7 stages, so it was out of 70. And if you shot in the 40s, like I was pretty good, and I shot like a 44. And that was
there you go.
Well, he did not change the course of fire very much ever. Like it was like you shoot like the same almost course of fire every week. Yeah. But it was good. It was still a good deal. Like, but you go shoot this stage and that stage at the same targets. Like, so you knew it was, but it was fun. We weren't. You knew what you was doing when you went there. Yeah. He had like 10 stages, and he would rotate. He would pick 7 of the 10 stages, and he would just go through. Rinse. If you were to do that today, are you cleaning all 7? Well, so we went back there. Me and Mike Anderson before we went to the finale. Me, Mark Anderson, and Paul Dallin. And when we went back there, I think I shot. Me and him tied for first, and I shot a 68 or 69. Out of 70. Out of 70. And then that, and then Paul Dallin and Brian Black were right behind us with like 67s. And they were like, holy smokes. And then we beat them by like 6-7 points. But it was like a whole different ball game when we showed up that time. Yeah. You know, like it was we were different different, and so
Yep.
yeah, to be able to see that, and that was kind of the first time like I got to shoot a 2016 match, and it was and that was
In
I think it was
2018 or
actually
whatever.
I think it was 2019, and
Yeah.
it was after we'd just gone to the finale type of deal,
Got it. Yep. Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
yeah,
Came back a different shooter.
yeah, we were
That's
a
awesome.
whole different ball game. And but like I said, it was fun, and I don't want to be like, yeah, everybody's sissies today, but there is that it is so much more interesting though when you can shoot a match that challenges you, and I know we're scared of doing that today because we don't want to challenge the little guy so much, and we don't want to, because we think that, oh, it's got to be all about the little guy, and I'm not saying that it's not important to retain people and all that type of stuff, but
Yep.
it's like one of those things where they talk about mentally, just like as in general, like when you talk about whatever you talk about. If you apologize for something, you're like, somebody comes to your house and you open the door and you go, sorry about the mess. Well, you don't know if they're even thinking about that, but now they are.
Now they are.
And so now they're looking around like,
Yep.
oh yeah, it kind of is a mess or whatever,
Yep.
But you don't know what
Yep.
they was thinking before that. But so if you just change that by not saying that, then they're not expecting anything different. And I think that's what happens now is we get oversensitive, thinking that we're, kicking somebody's teeth in or whatever. But in reality, you don't know. They might be having as fun as anybody and have zero expectations of what they wanted when they showed up.
Yep. I've shot Clay's match 3 or 4 times now, and the first time I went out there, I remember the feeling. We were probably 16 or 17 stages in. I don't remember if you ran 18 or 20, but we were 3 or 4 from the end, and finally it was a single distance stage. Now the targets were all the same distance, but they were spread out. And I was like, oh, thank God I don't have to write a huge dope card again. But it was just like a mental thing, right?
Yeah.
And I shot awful out there, but it was one of my most fun matches that year, and I felt like I took a lot away from it. And as the reason that was the first year I went, and it was the reason I went back and go back and go back. Like like I know going to that match is gonna make me a better shooter.
Yep.
Right. And becoming a better shooter is what I want to do. I'm not looking, like, wow, I hit 90% of the targets. Like that brings me joy for a minute, but in the long run, it doesn't do it for me.
Well, yeah, I agree. And I think there's a different, but there is people out there that there's not everybody has a different outlook on things. It's based on whatever their stuff is.
Yeah. What I'm saying is this for me. Yeah.
And that's totally fine. I mean, I was like you, like I wanted to go do hard stuff because it's fun,
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
And that just is what it is. But not everybody thinks that way. But I, to your credit, I really think it's a great step in the right direction to be able to change like how the scoring is, just because now it changes the incentive, how scores are incentivized. It also, and what people don't think about in that regard is when you incentivize, the way it was before, it was incentivized in a way that it could be manipulated or at least taken advantage of. So then it incentivized a certain style of match, and which was and location, and so everybody's like, oh, it's hard on the shooters or whatever. Well, that was hard on match directors because somebody that was more creative and put more innovation into their course of fire was actually punished.
Yep.
And so for the love of the game, they got screwed. You know what I mean? Versus,
yeah, I do.
And so I'm like that, like Paul Dallin. You think of like, to me, that's one of the best courses of fire in the country, if not the best. It's just so well thought out and fair because the way he loads the difficulty, he backloads it. So everything is it gets progressively harder with less time. And so you can either choose to, and he gives you just enough rope to hang yourself, and you get to choose whether or not you want to swing or hit him.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
that to me, like that innovation and that creativity
Sure.
needs to be rewarded and stuff. And so I like the where this is headed, because now all of a sudden a guy can take a risk, and
Go shoot something like that.
yeah, well, a match director can take a risk even,
Yep.
and,
Yep.
and like
Yeah.
and put a
Yep.
target up there, or put a stage up that that can maybe be a little bit more difficult, and then it's not going to be like, oh, it's the end all be all, now it's screwed everybody or whatever. And then
Yep.
now I do know that there's this opposite thought of like, well, yeah, with the density of shooters in certain locations is going to be, but I'm like, but I don't think you understand, like, when, yeah, you're thinking of it in placements and I think of it in percentages. And when 80 guys show
Yeah.
up and 3 of them are top 5 shooters, versus if there's 250 guys show up and 10 of them are top shooters, well, we got the same percentage of dudes. Like,
Yeah.
you're still beating. It's a percentage thing, and not everything can be perfect. But to me, it's just like one of the things where it's headed in the right direction. People need to trust the system and know that, like,
Well,
if it was 270 to make the finale last year, or 280, maybe it's going to be 260, 250 to make the finale.
it's probably 10 points less. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe 15. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. No, we had I honestly, I did not have the appetite for making that huge change.
I know you did. I heard that.
Yeah, which is why
It was voted.
I put a bunch of I put a bunch of trusted people that I really have a lot of respect for, and I know that really respect the sport and all that. And I said, hey, you guys come up with what the best plans are, and then we vote on it, right? It doesn't mean I don't have an appetite for change. I love change. I love pushing the boundaries and making things better and doing all of that. But it was one of the things that kind of scared me. Like, if we make a really terrible change here, it's going to hurt us. And
that's your livelihood.
For sure. Yeah.
You got a lot right
now. Yeah, I do. Yeah. I mean, I love engineering. I don't want to go back to it though.
Right.
I want to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, we could always undo something, but it's going to cause damage. So, honestly, now that I've seen a lot of evidence from it, we went through all the models and everything. Like, I do think it was the best thing that we could do. There's folks like, I'll just say Prentice, right? That it took away a little bit of the strength of Texas PM, and them being able to really cater to the local community, trying to earn as many points as possible. Shooting a 20 stage match that has 30 targets out there, and they're all big. There was going to be casualties either way you look at this, right? But should all of those folks, just because they shoot, a few Pro Series matches of that style, should they all qualify for the Pro Series finale?
Exactly. And then you take those same, there's some guys that maybe from Washington that maybe freaking shoot freaking good. And then
but they always show up in Nick Godarzi's there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but you only knew of me and Nick Godarzi when we was up there, right? And Jake Vibert. Because we won whether we was here or we was there or anywhere. Yep. And so our points we were gonna get our points. It didn't matter.
You're getting nears no matter what.
But all of a sudden, when it's the two of us, or Nick shows up and he blows them out by 12, or still it's like him and somebody else, 3 people get over 90, and you got to have 270 to get to the finale. That means 3 people out of 100 are getting there. So that means we got 3% that get over 90, get a relevant score. While the same weekend, well, I'll just take California for example. Last year, I won it.
There you go.
I won it by, I don't know, whatever, 2 points. I think 5 people got over 90 at that match.
Yeah.
Right? 5 people out of 85. It was 8% got over 90 points.
Yep.
That was, and a relevant score last year was something like 91-2. If you want to take relevant as in, and I'm not saying that anything else is irrelevant, right? Because the scoring is obviously to judge you against your peers. And so everybody's like,
Yep.
oh, but it doesn't judge you against your peers. Yes, it does, because we're trying to actually figure out, like, okay, how did you do against your peers? Not just how did you do relative to your peers that day at this match,
Yep.
and the difficulty of the match, scaling it, but actually like your peers also scaling it too,
Yep.
and then using that, and then getting a score that also can be counted in the exact same format as a match that happens literally 2,500 miles away on the same weekend.
Yeah.
And I can't remember how many guys that at the MPA match got over 90, but it was a percentage like somewhere in the 20s. 20% of that match gets over 90 points, while at the same time 8% gets over 90 points. When in all reality, if you're like just doing it off your peers, it's 10, 10, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But then you don't account for it. I know what the next thing is it's like, well, if that's the case, you know, then some of those guys over here are like, well, but this guy's been top. He's got 5 bullets, you know, and this guy's got
Right.
3 bullets, and this guy's got 2, and whatever,
Right.
and they're all here, and so they got 15% of the field has that many bullets. And then the guys on this side of the field, there's like 2 or 3 that have
if that
in the match.
Exactly.
And so then they're like, well, then how do you balance that? Well, that's how you're going to have to balance it, is you're going to have to, we got to balance the whole thing. Strength of field, difficulty of the course of fire, conditions, all that. So then we can have something that actually balances across the country.
Sure.
And so.
Yep, that's relevant. Yeah, and relative. Yeah. Yep.
I know. I didn't mean to go on that tangent, but I was just more thinking of in my mind where I was the question I was having, because I did have a question for you, because, like, you know, it's obviously relevant to you, and because the growth of this sport, it's kind of great, because I think of like when Shannon had the PRS, you know, if the sport, like, Shannon was great for the sport because it was
no structure.
very, very beneficial, because Shannon was going to make sure that this sport was successful, period. Like, he was going to will that into existence. There was just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And so, and he did. And now you're there, and now it's like that growth time, like how to grow and all that type of stuff. And so I just didn't know what your plans were, what you were thinking about how to grow.
Man, if there's any application for AI, this is it, right? Because, like, we do a lot of benchmarking. With the plan of how do you grow the sport? How do you make it more professional? How do you give back to you know, the partners that put so much into it, right? And you know, there are some times, honestly, that you know, a big part of our growth, I'm like, yep, we're essentially a marketing company, right? The people who are watching this, right? And hopefully, hopefully getting a lot out of this content, right? I mean, hopefully there's some mid-pack shooters listening or whatever that are like, oh my God, I am never moving a 10th again when I miss. Like, I'm going 4/10 or whatever, 80% of the plate, right? Like, hopefully there's folks getting out of there, but, like, also talking about Leah Photo and MPA and Lone Peak, and, like, those are all great companies that need to benefit from this. They benefit from this. They pour it back in to the sport, right? Like, they support prize tables. They support shooters. They, you know, and it's sort of this life cycle of, you know, bring new shooters in, expose them to stuff. They buy products. The companies that make those products support the series, which brings more shooters in. You know, they buy products, and, like, we're all growing together for it, right? We use AI to, you know, benchmark a lot of that stuff and develop plans going forward. Here's something that I've never shared on air or on a recording or whatever. And I actually had this conversation with Josh Bandy today. He's a Pig River match director. And this is, and I'll give credit where credit is due. This is a conversation that I had probably 6 months ago with Francis Colon, but maybe there is a really good place for the shooter who just wants to earn 90% impacts and points, you know, want to go out with their buddies, make a lot of impacts, do the thing, right? And maybe that's the regional series. Maybe we need to develop the regional series more so that you have, the one days like it's a bowling league or darts league or volleyball league or whatever, and they're happening regular like they are right now. And then have, maybe it's a big 2-day regional match. All the regional finales are 2-day matches. Maybe all that contributes to a national finale for the regional series, right? I mean, and I'm sure people are listening are like, oh, this wouldn't work because of this or that or whatever, but there's reasons why it would work too.
There is.
And maybe a lot of those match directors, and I'll pick on Texas PM again, like they would be the perfect candidate for a national championship regional series.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Where it's, hey, like I used to bowl a lot. I grew up bowling. You were out roping and doing all sorts of manly stuff, whatever. I was in a smoke-filled bowling alley, rolling from the age of 5 to 18, I think. I was a really good bowler. I was competitive. It was easy to do. But if you wanted to go to the state championship, which was a big deal, you signed up for it.
Yeah.
And I think if you wanted to go to the national championship, you signed up for it. There's no qualifying, like you can just go. Right now, all the best people are there, right? But if you'd only bowled one season and your buddy's like, hey, let's go to the state championship, and you're like, okay, you could do that.
Put your name down.
Right? And I think that type of scenario lends itself really well to a regional championship and a regional 2-day championship and a national championship where here you go. And if we had that, then we can take our pro series and do to a way different level, right? And I think that means more, I don't want to say televised, right? But there has to be some
marketability,
marketability, viewership. I mean, we're partway there with live scoring. Consumable, exactly. You have to have some storylines. You're going to have some villains. You'll have to have the heroes. Everybody knows everybody. You'll probably, one of the things that I really like about F1 is like the Manufacturers Cup, right? Like you have these manufacturers teams. Like we could very easily do that. And I'm hoping by next year we'll have a couple pieces in place, hopefully. One, we'll have an easy way for folks to do fantasy PRS, probably through Impact Scoring and our website. So you can pick and be involved. You can consume that type of thing while you're remote. But then the other thing is like get company, like if I went to MDT tomorrow and said, hey, you guys want to buy a shooting team? They'd say, yep, how many can we buy? Right? They'd buy an A, B, C, D, whatever, a red, white, and blue team. It doesn't matter. They'd buy as, if I went to Leopold, they'd probably say the same thing. If I went to Tate Street or at Impact, if I, MPA, you name it, you guys get a team together, right? And Morgan King can only play on one team, so you got to make a decision there. Is it MPA? Is it Impact? Is it Leopold? Is it whoever, right? Now, how about this? Those manufacturers could trade you, right? Now we're talking a completely different level right, because I'm at home, maybe I'm an MDT guy, or I'm a foundation guy, right, and I got all the Okies, and now all of a sudden I don't know, I don't want to say Clay Blackadder's going to go shoot a Manners stock. I don't think he'd ever do that, but like he got traded to Team Manners. Now what's going to happen, right? Like now we got something to talk about. It's way more consumable.
Right.
There's so many different levels we could take this thing to. But that's the stuff I think about in the conversation today with Josh Bandy. I'm like, I see a future where we could do that. It is many years out, right? And then what do you do with all of your pro matches, right? We have 50 pro matches. Some of them make the cut, obviously, to become part of the huge pro series. Some probably have to come down to a regional level, right? Because you wouldn't be able to sustain a pro series with pro only. And here's the other thing: maybe shooters qualify to shoot the Pro Series. It's not something you can just sign up for. You have to qualify through the regional stuff, right?
So have you looked into the Bassmasters?
I actually follow Major League Fishing a little bit closer, but yeah, I have looked in Bassmasters.
Well, the
They do the same thing?
yeah, MLF. I don't know how the MLF works. So I got a kid that works for us, and he fishes like a lot, and like fished in college, for and like he's like my boss's son or boss. I don't know what he is. He's whatever. But yes, he he owns a practice. I'm an associate veterinarian there, and it's just the two of us. And he his boy is in vet school right now, but he missed being on the Bassmasters Pro Tour by like a couple of ounces. Like, or he would have been on tour, and on tour you're kind of set. But you have to qualify.
Truck, a boat, all
everything, and you go down
sponsors,
the road. And I've been talking to Trevor, like, how do you get in that deal? Because you're gonna fish like 20 of them a year, but you're gonna make a good living.
Perfect. Every other weekend.
On tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there'll be some times where it's all month, and then there's gonna be months where you don't do nothing. But it's gonna be you're gonna be fishing a lot, but you're doing what you like to do. You're making a good living. And everything's kind of paid for, and whatever you get most of the time they get a boat a year, and they can sell the boat at the end of the year, and then they get another boat, and they deck them all out, do all that. So plus their trucks and everything, plus they live in, and then they have all their sponsors that pay all the rest of the stuff, and so like it's not. It's still pretty good, you know. Like I'm not going to downplay how good it is. Like it got it good, but they got to qualify to be in that tour, and then to fish it and to stay in there. And so he's like, I'm like, how do you get in? He's like, well, I got to qualify. And I'm like, oh, how much money do you need to get going to qualify? Because his fish is good enough. They went, him and his fiance, they fish like every couples tournament and like singles tournament in the state. And they win everything. Like they clean up.
No joke.
And like, he makes good money just fishing, just doing that. Those ones, because you can they call them like there's like the workday tournaments where working men's tournaments where it's like you get off work on Friday, you fish Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
And then and it's like they either do like afternoon ones or they do like afternoon and a Saturday.
We live pretty close to a little lake up here, and there's. I mean, we're a couple blocks off, but on Monday nights they fish our lake, or there's like 3 other lakes nearby. It's just a small bass fishing league or whatever, but it's pretty cool. Like on like 3 Monday nights throughout the summer, like I'll go out there and be like, "This is cool."
Yeah.
Like I mean, there's no boats out there with graphics all over them or anything like that, but you can tell it's like a husband and wife or a couple buddies that are just trying to put pounds in a live well.
Yeah, and this kid's good at it. They hate him around here because he'll just show up and they call him because he live scope. He's really good with a live scope.
Hell yeah,
like deadly with
Garmin.
Yep. And him and that's what Marty's boy, Caden. Him and those two like they clean up in college because they could go and they can sit. Like Caden can watch a live scope. Like his dad will talk about it. He'll be sitting there watching the live scope. He'll see a fish and he'll look at it and he'll see a yardage and just go
right to it.
And he'll see him and he can watch and he can see his bait hit the water and be like missed, or most of the time he hits it. He can throw they can throw it into a hula hoop, at 70 yards.
Exactly.
And they're just
I mean the same level of impressiveness you can do with the 6.5 Creed, they're doing with the fishing lure.
Exactly. And they're just like sniping these fish. They put it on their nose. like they'll talk about like fish or fishing on beds. Like when they're fishing them off their beds, the big females, he'll be like they don't get those ones. A lot of times they either have to see them take it or they have to watch it on the scope. Because those big mamas, all they're doing is they're moving stuff off the bed. So you're just throwing it on there and having to hit their bed.
Yep.
and you can't get too
Yep.
close, but you can't be too far away. You got to be able to hit it, but
Yeah.
you can't be close enough that they want to move off of it. And so
Yep.
so they'll just like sit there and they'll watch them drop. They'll watch their bait drop on a bed,
Yep.
and it's wild. Anyways, I say all that because they were, me and him were kind of talking a little bit about this, and I was like, you could kind of maybe do that, like qualify that way. Just like when you said that, it made me think of those guys.
There's a lot that has to happen between here and there, right? And a lot of growth in the sport, right? Like I still see us as, we're that state bowling tournament or whatever. You can come out and shoot, you can do all that, right? And then really, you just the only thing you have to qualify for is our national championships in both rimfire and centerfire, and which is kind of funny to think we made these scoring changes, which mostly impact just that, right? The qualifying. For
That's
the
really
finales.
all it's qualifying, or all it's changing.
Yep, and the amount of emotions and people that are vocal about it is impressive for, honestly, kind of a minor change. I think once we get through an entire year, and see the impact, there will be a few people that have qualified for the finale that just won't this year, right? Like they'll probably be a couple points off, right?
But there'll be some that will because of it.
There will be some that will. Yeah, exactly. It's a trade, but we'll, when we get to the end of the year and invites and all that go out, and we can analyze it. I love using AI. I use AI for all sorts of stuff. And that's what I would do. I'd be like, here's who qualified for the last 5 years. Who's qualified this year? Are there any names? And then show who, or say who's just out of qualifying. Like show me who had routinely made it that all of a sudden didn't. And I bet there's no smoking gun or anything. There's going to be a few people, and I bet if I called them, they'd say like, yeah, I didn't really get to travel as much as I wanted this year. I didn't get to do this as much as I wanted, or that as much as I wanted. I doubt we'll hear like, yep, scoring system screwed me. Nah. I don't think we'll hear that. But
no, but I think
time will tell.
What I think might be cool is the geography of, to see if there's a geography.
Dude, that's another perfect thing for AI, right? Like, and I oh man, the first couple 2023 and 2024, really before AI kind of took hold, I had these spreadsheets where I could look at member maps and stuff, and I used zip codes, and I basically could plot it all on Google Maps and show me little pins of, and I could turn it on and off. Like, show me where the pro members are. It's pretty well distributed across.
I remember
the
you posting that stuff, like the density maps.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. And man, that would be 2 or 3 days worth of work, cleaning stuff up. I created a map the other day. I think I had, it was for Pursuit. We're working on the schedule and all of that. And I have all these applications and whatever, and I just put it into Claude AI, and I said, hey, develop a schedule. And also I want to see a map with a pin, and on the pin information, I want where they're at, like in order of dates. I want their, what city and state they're in, and the name of the match and the match director or whatever. And it was 2 minutes, not 2 days. It's beautiful, dude.
That's so wild. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What about, have you looked at the archery? Have you looked at the archery stuff? How they do that? Or have I talked to you about this before?
You've talked to me about this, about how to televise like the last 2 stages.
Yeah.
Yeah. Say it on here so everybody hears it. I think it's a good idea. This sticks with me. Because
I always feel like there's got to be a way to make it to where there's something, because it's so long. It's like watching paint dry. And literally paint can dry faster, actually.
Probably, yeah. Especially in the sun.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So like, and I'm not saying that I don't like watching this paint dry. I do.
Yeah.
But I'm a freak, right? And there's a bunch of freaks.
It needs to be consumable by a more general audience.
Yeah, like more people. Like the people that are gonna get on Impact Scoring once or twice a day.
Yeah.
Versus the guys that are gonna watch the live feed.
Yeah.
Like that's a different group of people.
It is. Yep.
And so like in the impact scoring thing, I think is great. But could you imagine? In my mind, I would love to see it like where we get to where like the archery deal, they shoot 18 stages,
Yep.
and then they go, okay, thanks boys, that was fun, and then they put up their bows, and then they go, okay, shoot offs, and then they start televising the shoot offs, which the shoot offs
That's
they
cool.
take the top like 8 or something like that, and I think there's a way we could do about 12 probably, and they shoot through, but they do it round robin style, and they
Yep.
talk about everybody. There's color commentary when you're doing it, and these things will be like an hour, but it's freaking entertaining because they'll be like, here's what this guy came into, this is where he's been, this is where he's sitting, this is like all this stuff, like all
Yep.
the stats of them, and
Yep.
how they're doing, and then all of a sudden it's like this guy needs a 12, and so and then or this guy needs to get Banky's points, so let's just get our 10s, And in
Yep.
archery, it's kind of cool because you have like the 10 ring, and
Yep.
then you have I think it's an 8, 10, and then an 8
Yeah,
ring,
yeah,
and then
yep.
you have a 12 ring off to the side that's like over here, but it's surrounded all by a 6.
Oof.
So it's like
Yeah.
you have the 8 and the 10. It's like that's where you go because you have like a golf
Yep.
ball size target,
Yeah.
or well bigger than that. It's like half a baseball type of target. We're surrounded by vitals, and then
Yep.
it's like, oh, it's a 12 and a 14. I think it's a 12 and that's a 10, and then you have, but then this is like seriously a 6 for just to hit the
Yeah.
animal,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
it's like you get a 14 or whatever, something like that. I know it's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
It's a crazy
Yep.
spread, and so these guys can like shuffle, right? Because all of a sudden this guy knows he's coming in 6th, and the only way to catch him is if he gets all 12s or 14s or whatever that is. And so there's
Yeah.
a guy like Matt Allwine, he's notorious for it, where he'll just go in there and just peg that 12,
Yeah.
just ting,
12,
ting,
12,
ting,
12,
12.
12.
And
Yeah.
he'll just sit there and like come from the back and then just 12, 12, 12, 12.
Yep.
That's what
Yep.
I've talked to him
But that's
about.
what people want to consume, though. That's what people want to see,
There's some
right? Like,
excitement.
especially if, where you're like, man, if this guy's going to do anything, he's got to gamble.
Yep.
Right? That's fun to watch.
Yep. So
That's fun to watch.
the first time I really been like, I think it could work in the PRS is because the funnest thing I've ever watched was in the 2022 World Championships. After it was all done, they had had the tiebreaker, and it was a 3-minute stage with 13 rounds and 3 different props and like 10 different targets. And
everybody's watching.
And it was hard. And everybody showed up, like hundreds of people standing there. You could have spotters, you could have all this stuff. And there was somebody talking about it, like here's so-and-so, and they got this points and blah, blah, blah. And he's from this country. And I remember Orgain had to shoot it against somebody else.
Yep.
And they were shooting it like back to back, I think, at the same time, if I remember right. But it doesn't matter. You don't have to do it like that. But it was so much fun to just watch it all unfold right there. And everybody's done. The whole match is done. And it was just, how did these guys finish, right? And
just thinking out loud, we could pick a pro match and do this.
Yeah, because you don't have to screw the scores up, right? That's the thing is like when you're done with the match is done for those. If there's 100 guys and you take 12 back, well, those 88 guys, they're gonna get their points, and they're gonna get the exact amount of points that they were gonna get before that. But now these guys here, they can shuffle within themselves and come out different. Now there's a way to make it to where they shuffle and the spread works. But if that guy comes in with X amount of points lead, he's going to remain that lead. But then you have a stage where it's like, say, one's like the Geisley barricade deal that
Drew does.
Drew does. It's 12 rounds. It's fast paced, moving. One target. You have it on the target. You have the shooter. Everybody's going to blow through it, and it's like, everybody's got to work for their points, but it's exciting.
Exactly.
We'll see that. And then maybe have like a troop line or something.
Prone troop line, exactly.
Over here.
Yep.
And then it's like, okay, this guy came in with a 2-point lead. Can he hang on to it? And then this guy right here, he's got to, what can he do? Can Can he go and clean everything up and make this guy earn it? You know, he's trying to win his first match type of thing. You can actually create a narrative where people will watch it, you know. Or this guy's trying to work on getting 300 points. This guy's trying to get his first win ever. Who's going to win? You know?
Yep.
Like, can David get Goliath type of deal? And then
that's what people want to watch. Yeah, and especially if it's 45 minutes or an hour.
Yeah, you can tune into that.
Yep.
And you can make a highlight reel out of that too.
Yeah, 100%. Maybe we just pick a match. I guess if there's match directors out there listening to this, like maybe we try to arrange that, right, where you're done on Sunday at 2:00 or something like that. And then, you know, like Twisted Barrel would probably be a good example, you know, a great place to do something like this. You know, they're really efficient, get done early, you know, and then we line the top 10 up. Time for shoot off, boys. You know, everybody else go put your stuff in the truck and come back. Or, you know, if you're ready to get out of here, you had a weekend, go somewhere else, you know?
Yep. Impact makes this so efficient too. Because you can be like, and it's attainable by almost anybody, right? Like, say if you did, you know, 15, something like that, or 12 or whatever, you're going to make 2 squads and they just turn and flip. The shoot off stages are already in the book. These guys, you can have the awards set up already, like that's getting set up and everything ready to go. We're just going to figure out where these boys stack and have a little video and talk about it and a little presentation or whatever. But it's like we're going to have a 30-minute break or 40-minute break after the shooting's done. Everybody look at deal. Did you make the shoot-offs or did you not make the shoot-offs? And, you know, and it's like, oh, it's sweet, quick. I made the shoot-offs. And you know, anybody can make
there's even a little drama there, too, because the last stage or two of the match, people are going to be, you know, looking for that cut line.
And you're going to want to make it bad because then you can be on, say, hey, honey, I'm on the shoot-offs. Check it out. Yep. Like how many of those guys and people are going to tune in to watch their guy make the shoot-offs? Like you think about you're talking about the fantasy stuff. What does that do to the fantasy deal? That makes it pretty freaking exciting. Now we got something to watch. This is like Sunday Night Football, you know.
Like, well, maybe it's not quite that, but
it could.
It is for guys like you and I.
But it can become that, right? Like,
for sure.
Like it's like saying this is a fantasy football league. Well, it's not, but it is for me and you. You know,
it is.
And so now all of a sudden, anybody that's doing that fantasy deal, we're watching this shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, so like there's some excitement. There's some reason to look at it and to watch and to be able to see it go down. You know, and to have those types of stages, like it wouldn't take much to figure it out. I mean, it takes some effort, obviously, and I just thought about that for a while, and I'm like, there's got to be a way to make this more consumable.
I agree, and hopefully there's people listening to that have some ideas, but you know, maybe that is one we try to execute this year. You know, I honestly, I think a place like Twisted Barrel, which is like next month. Well, who knows when this is going to go out, but it's in July. Like that might be a great example. It might be an easy one for us to see if those guys want to try doing something like that. Maybe we put a little bit of weight on it and see if we can get some cameras there and do some things, you know?
That would be so cool.
Yeah. It would be cool.
I would just, I would kill to do it. Just because.
Kind of like it's kind of like the AG Cup, right?
Right. And I mean, in like the commentary that you could get out, oh man, that'd be so much fun.
Yeah.
Just so you could just have people like, what would almost be cool is if there was like a live mic. Because then, then
on the guys too, or over the
heckling.
Yeah.
Well, I just mean like not like screwing people up, but listen, I've rode in the box enough time for money, and had somebody saying, hey, you know, this is blah blah blah, so and so, and they're from here, and this is where they're sitting, and this is how much money they won, and they need to do this or be this or faster, and blah blah, and that's all going on while you're sitting there kicking your horse forward, trying to get them square and everything. You're hearing the announcer talk about this and all this stuff that's going on, and then you're having to. This has all got to go away because it's just you and this. Like the clock don't care about what the announcer says about you or anything like that. It's the same thing with the wind and the targets. Like all you have to do is level, trigger, squeeze, and correct. That's it.
You know where a great place to set this up would be Impact Foundation match.
Oh yeah,
I think
I think we could talk those two suckers into it.
Oh yeah, I'm signed up for it too. So I'll be there. I can bring a PA system and a mic and all of that where we could have everybody, because it's usually a pretty good size. Well, I got 160 people there last year and a lot of really good shooters.
And I say two
We could-
suckers is I love those people.
Yeah, I know you do. Yeah, they don't take offense to this, but yeah, I think we could do that.
I think
Let me. Yeah, all right, man. We are like 2 hours and 40 minutes into this, and I bet we could go
Okay.
another hour or
Not
so
bad.
if we.
I can tell it for a long time.
We'll have to come back. We'll have to do this again. Let's try that. Let's try the Impact Foundation match.
I'm excited about
We'll put
the
it on
sport.
those guys.
And I think it can go so many places, and I know that you have a lot of plans for it. And I'm excited to see. Well, I've already been stoked just seeing all the changes and just seeing how it grows, and having good leadership at the top has been awesome to see.
Man, it means a lot coming from you. I appreciate that.
Well,
I appreciate that. Thank
I
you.
mean it. I'm serious. I think this is going places.
I appreciate it, man. And thank you for coming on tonight. And we'll talk again soon.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.